Welcome to the Bauer Power Hour, where we pack motorsports, power sports, and the outdoor lifestyle with technology, innovation, news, and good times into an action-packed dirt flinging show. Hosted by the one and only Charlene Bauer, who's been serving the off-road industry for over 20 years. Time to throw the green flag and get ready for another wild lineup.
Hello, I'm Charlene Bauer, and welcome to a very special episode of Bauer Power Hour. I'm very excited to introduce you to 33 ladies that have made an impact on the off-road community. Where did these ladies come from? Well, the technical answer to that is from all across the US and Canada, but the more indirect answer is through my Ladies Co-Driver Challenge. The Ladies Co-Driver Challenge has been an amazing experience for myself and for the 91 ladies that participated. Though I have to say, that number may actually be exponential as I've talked to many. This challenge has given some the opportunity to break out of their mold, to say, what the heck, I think I can do this, and then has allowed folks from around the world to support them as they move forward. It all got started while talking with BF Goodrich Tires about events happening this year, including Rally Venture in Virginia City, Nevada, 36 Hours Uwharrie in North Carolina, and the Rebel Rally. That's a 7-day navigational adventure from Lake Tahoe to San Diego, California. We had a plan for the events utilizing the all-terrain KO2 tire, but what I was missing was a partner in crime. I thought through who would be the best co-driver for each event and started making some phone calls. Schedules didn't match and opportunities didn't make sense. I believe that everything happens for a reason. I just needed to wait. So I did. And I headed to an impromptu ladies weekend in the desert, and I was inspired. I loved all the ladies that were there, trying to get their hand at driving in the sand, which can be scary, but they were committing, they were getting stuck, and we were all laughing. Why does it have to be an industry person that joins me on these adventures? My long drive back to Arizona allowed me time to think through that idea, and with some calls to mentors and BF Goodrich Tires, I was able to roll out the Ladies Co-Driver Challenge. We put this stage-by-stage plan together and decided to make it a little more difficult to enter than just a quick picture or so. We announced the Ladies Co-Driver Challenge at our very first ladies meet and greet in Moab, Utah, that I co-hosted with Jesse Combs. The ladies that entered had a span of 2.5 weeks to find out about the opportunity, fill out a 3-page questionnaire with some essay questions, of course, and submit 3 pictures. Like I said, I didn't make it easy. I was hoping for 30. We got 91. I was so honored and humbled by that, but what I really saw was a group of ladies jumping outside of their comfort zone to be part of this possible adventure. The next phase, we turned to social media for help. Posting pictures on Facebook and Instagram, we encouraged the ladies to get votes of confidence on their pictures. The top 30 would move on to the next round. The ladies were amazed by the positive words that they were receiving. This was probably the most amazing gift of the whole project. Ladies were empowered by their friends to be successful and heard words they never thought they would hear. A couple of them jokingly said that they were really happy to know how people felt about them before their funeral. As I've been throwing in curveballs here and there, the 30 became 33 as I took 3 wild cards from the lower group that may not have had the largest social media following. Those 33 ladies all got a second set of questions to prepare for a phone call and this special Bauer Power Hour episode. We all spoke on the phone for about 20 minutes, with this 5-minute interview being part of it. The question set may sound a little repetitive, but what's really fun is all the answers are so different. These ladies are making history being part of this project, and I'm honored to be able to host their stories. So enough talking from me. Let's get to them. We have Makayla Holstein from Kennewick, Washington with us. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Great. Now, how did you get into off-roading?
So every weekend when we were growing up, all I can remember is camping and wheeling and being outdoors. And so from quads to dirt bikes in the summer to snowmobiles in the winter and jeeping constantly, it was always something outdoors. We live about 30 minutes from a sand dune and about an hour and a half from the mountains. So we're perfectly placed to be outdoors every weekend, and I guess I just couldn't stop. So once I turned 16, I was like, I got to get my own Jeep, Dad.
Really? So you got your own Jeep at 16?
I got my dad had me using his Jeep at 16, and because he's like, I don't want you to have your own yet. I don't want you going out by yourself. You need to learn more. And so he he babied me and really took care of me. And then at 19, I got my first Jeep, and that was my baby. And it was 100% stock, and it was a Grand Cherokee, and I took it and built it, wheeled it in Moab, and had a blast. And then I was like, you know what? I need another project. This one's done. I want another one. And so then I got my 97 TJ that I have now. And so that's been my project. And it just got done with its Moab, its Easter Jeep Safari trip. And it's doing pretty good right now.
Excellent. Excellent. And just to make a quick mention, this is our youngest competitor. She's going to be 21 on May 6th. So I told her, absolutely get your everything in because the events happen after that. So we're good with that and super excited. What was one of your first and favorite off-road experiences?
One of my first was going out in my dad's Jeep that I can really remember with my grandpa. And my grandpa has since passed away, but my grandpa was a huge part of my life. And so I remember going out, and my dad got the Jeep stuck, and Grandpa's out there trying to help him winch it. And it was just this amazing experience because that's a huge memory that I have with my grandpa and my dad, and they're both huge in my life.
Cool.
And so it was just this awesome memory. And my favorite experiences have been the trail cleanups that we do. We go out and pick up trash and post signs and take care of stuff to try to make it so that these areas stay open because everyone wants to close them down around here. And so we do a lot of trail cleanups, and of course it's always a competition to see who can get the most trash. So usually we end up tackling each other over a piece of garbage. But coming back a year later and seeing a sign that you posted still there and seeing that people are still taking care of an area that was once a dump is really rewarding.
Nice, nice. Of all these events, which one interests you the most and why?
The Rebel Rally really catches my eye because I love maps and going old school. And I can leave my phone with no service for, a couple of days and have no problem. And so I think that 7 days without technology is right up my alley.
I don't know. I'm twitching about it. So what do you think you could bring to the table as being part of our team?
I think that organization skills, because when it comes to planning trips and planning routes and mapping ahead, that's something that I really enjoy doing. To me, that's not work. That's fun. And so being organized and planning is something that I'm really, really good with. And then if there's anything like teaching tints or things like that, I'm really good at that.
Awesome. Awesome. What have you overcome in the past or have done that has molded you to be who you are today?
Well, in my left eye, I can only see peripheral vision because you have two fields of vision. You have a central vision and then peripheral vision. And I can only see peripheral vision out of my left eye. And so I was told when I was little, you're not going to shoot, you're not going to be able to play softball, you're not going to be able to track anything, you're not going to be able to read. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, Mom, watch me. And so my dad took me outside and he's like, okay, you want to play softball? We're going to put you in a corner and throw a ball at you until you learn to catch it. And of course it took some time, but I played competitive fast pitch for 4 years. I shoot trap competitively and light rifle, and I also can read books like nobody's business.
Wow, nice job, girl. What's one of the coolest things that is part of being a part of the off-road community?
I think that really it's being with other people that have the same interests. I mean, yeah, there's a couple bad seeds in everything that you do that are out there destroying the trails and just being hard on stuff. But for the most part, I run into so many people on the trail, and they're like, hey, where are you guys going? And it's like, oh, we're going to the same place as you guys. And they're like, oh, well, let's go together. And just the friendships that you build. Everyone's there to support everyone. And being a female, I didn't expect that. But it's almost like I have a whole bunch of extra dads and grandpas out there now from all these guys that are like, no, come on, let's go, let's do this. And so that's been really great.
Nice. And if you can pack only one, what would you take? Zip ties or duct tape?
Duct tape, because I've been able to patch a broken radiator with duct tape before. It got me off the trail.
Awesome. Nice job, Makayla. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to have Michelle Perez from Half Moon Bay, California on the phone. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So how did you get into off-roading? Tell us your story.
I had a 4x4, played around with that a little bit, the local watering hole, so to say, but it's a little bit of what I did, but mostly I'm into older muscle cars and rebuilding cars and working on cars. I have a 67 Mustang that I've been building from the ground up since I was 16, and she's just about done.
Really cool. So you're more of a Mustang girl than an off-road girl.
I'm more of a muscle car girl than an off-road girl, yes.
Nice, nice. Well, I got a Mustang in my driveway too, so we're fine with that. So tell me about your college experience.
So ever since I was little, there's always an old car in the garage. I always knew I wanted to work on cars, me and my dad. So when I turned 18, I up and left to Wyoming for Wyotech. I graduated from there. It was crazy because I was the only girl in my classes. So it was a huge experience coming from a small town going up to a couple states away to where I know no one, and attending pretty much an all-male school. And then I attended a second college, Skyline College, for some more automotive. So I did collision, finishing upholstery, engines, transmissions, ran, steerings, brake suspension, high-performance engine. I actually built my engine for my Mustang at school. So that was pretty awesome.
Wow, that's really cool. So now what do you do for work today?
Multiple jobs. I write for an all-female magazine, Girls in Garages. Mm-hmm. I am a dog walker. I work nights at a hotel, and I run an auto shop. I opened and ran it. One of my bosses brought me in, taught me how he wants it ran, and then threw me into a pretty open shop where I got to pretty much build it up and start it from the ground up. So that was awesome.
Oh, that's a great business experience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was a service writer, manager, and the mechanic.
All three at the same time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, of all these events, which one interests you the most and why?
Honestly, they all seem pretty amazing. The Rebel Rally just seems like it would be one of the most fun, just going out there and getting the PR for everything. It just, any of them sound amazing, really. It's all about the experience and bringing other people into a little bit of my life, so to say, and experiences, and really getting everything out there for people to know, understand, learn a little more, and maybe even perk some interest and, start the little fire that gets them going. So any of them would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have their independent challenge, don't they?
Definitely.
So what's something that you've overcome? What's a challenge that's been out there?
Well, definitely the biggest one, I guess, just in general, is being a female in a male-dominated industry. When I first started, like I said, I was the only girl in my auto school for the most part, going out to apply for jobs. I used to work in Missouri on private jets, come back to California, and I couldn't even get a basic paint prep job because I was a female. I was offered, oh, I can't put you back there with the guys. I'm afraid of a lawsuit, but I have a job opening in the office if you like. So that kind of stuff is one of the hardest things I was to overcome and get past that barrier and that stereotype.
But you've done it, right?
Oh, yeah. I've done it and running my own shop now, and guys come in, see all the awards on my walls and certifications, and they feel comfortable talking to me. Very few have come in and kind of disregarded me or tried to push me aside. After talking to me, I instantly win their respect. So that's cool. Amazing. The industry come very far.
Cool. So what would you bring to the table as part of our team?
I'm definitely a hardworking, determined individual who can overcome anything that I set my mind to. So whatever I need to learn or do or say, I can definitely tackle that. I can take constructive criticism, turn it around, and win with it.
Awesome. And last question, if you can pack only one, what would you take? Zip ties or duct tape?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm going to say duct tape because you can definitely fold that up a couple times and use it in a pretty good manner if you needed to kind of tie something up. But if you get a leak or something, depending on how big or small it is, zip ties ain't going to help you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, great job, Michelle, and I look forward to meeting you more.
I look forward to speaking with you more and meeting you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. We have Journee Richardson from Ramona, California with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Charlene?
Awesome. Thank you. So tell me, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, I have been with my boyfriend for about 10 years, and he races a 1450 truck. I've always been allowed to help in the prep, the pre-run. They let me ride in the back seat during pre-run and any practice sessions, but when it comes to race day, I am always just a girl. and I'm left on the sidelines. Maybe that's because I can't lift the tires on my own, or they just think as a female I'm not as qualified. But I don't know about you. If you hear you can't do it because you're just a girl, that motivates me much more.
Right.
And I'm not going to be left on the sidelines. So, of course, I took it into my own hands, and I rented a driver's seat in the 2014 Powder Puff race in Barstow, and had such a great time just doing my one lap, overcome all the challenges, broke down, fixed it, got back on course, and a few months later I bought my own truck and started building it. And then a few months after that, I had a co-driver spot with Emmy Hall in her 1600 car in the race in Barstow again.
She's a wild one.
She is a wild one, that one. But she totally inspired me, and I sold that Ranger that I had bought right away, and this last July I bought my own 1600 car, all on my own, and I have been prepping it on my own, funding it on my own, and I've currently raced 3 races in it, and can't wait to finish the season. I'm very proud of what I've accomplished on my own as a female, not just a female. I mean, really, it's a big feat to buy your own race car and race it all on your own with no support. And at the same time, I've been able to use my race car as a tool to mentor youth.
So that's a word that I saw a lot on your sheet was mentor, and that's actually something I wanted to bring up. What do you do, and how do you help?
There is a group of youth that is in Barstow, California, under the tutelage of Martha Lee Motorsports, and they are 14 to 18-year-olds that have to keep their upstanding grades, be an active member of society, and stay out of trouble at home and school. And we have a program where they get to work on all 3 of our race cars. They're all 1600 cars. And they get to start sweeping the shop, move on to wrenching on the cars, and we actually get to let them ride with us in the races as a co-driver. And after that, we hope to have them build their own race cars in the future.
Very cool. That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome to give back to them and show them that you can achieve it with a little bit of hard work.
Absolutely. Well, with the 3 events that we have listed, which one are you most interested in and why?
Well, definitely all 3 of them. Each is a unique event in itself. But doing the research on them, the rally venture actually seems the most appealing to me because it does challenge not just your driving and navigational skills, but your teamwork, your cooperation, and other skills that you can use along the way. For me, that kind of seems like a super adventure.
Yeah, right? We even get to kayak in our clothes, not a bathing suit. Should be entertaining.
I know, right?
Not too sure about that whole deal, but we can do it. We can do it. So what do you think you could bring to the team?
Well, definitely my skill as a driver and a co-driver, but on top of that, I'm really not afraid to do whatever it takes. I don't really dwell on a problem, I solve it. I found that as to be one of my greatest skills is I really am a problem solver. And on top of that, I am a country girl. I have spent the majority of my life in the outdoors, whether it be shooting, gardening, wheeling, all of it. That's been my domain my whole life.
Nice.
So I think that just my skills outdoors, my skills as a driver, co-driver, and my attitude where I'm not afraid to learn anything, do anything, or be who I want to be.
Yeah, I love it. Well, what's one of the coolest parts about being part of the off-road community?
To be honest, it actually has been the women. I have never felt so embraced by a community in itself, but the women in off-road. I've been in this world for about 2 years, and I can't even describe the long-lasting relationships and the love I have felt from all of these women. It is overwhelming, but so inspiring at the same time. Awesome.
Well, if you could pack only one of these 2 things, which would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Well, let's see. They do say duct tape solves all, but I am a zip tie girl 100%. My race car is covered in hot pink zip ties, and they are my greatest tool, I would say.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Journee.
Thank you, Charlene, for taking your time to give us women an opportunity of a lifetime.
Absolutely. Well, we have Angie Mitchell from Henderson, Nevada with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How is everyone?
Awesome, awesome. Well, tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
I was born into it, really. My dad and my grandma and my papa, we used to always go into the weekend looking for trails to go on our Jeep. We had an old Willys big old green beast, and I used to drive it when I was a little girl. And then I went from there to motorcycles, and I started racing motorcycles, and I started racing three-wheelers, and I started racing quads, and with age comes cage. And now I'm in a buggy every now and then, trying to get our girl team going and see where it leads.
Cool. So a lot of what you do is based around racing then, or?
A lot of it, and not so much also. All of our family outings, say like Easter, we go out. We went out four-wheeling for Easter, took the whole family, hid the eggs, out in the wilderness and
Cool.
up in the forest, and just always have done that. We've never stayed home for Easter. We're always out four-wheeling. And basically any reason we can get to go out four-wheeling, we do.
Yeah.
And we just purchased a Jeep and hope to do a lot more of it.
Oh, very cool, very cool. But a lot of what you do does revolve around racing, so tell us about that.
About the racing? Oh, well, racing's my passion, and let's see, I volunteer for BITD, and I also volunteer for SNOR, and I work all the races I can. We run checkpoints as well as anything they need me to do. My husband retrieves, and we always pick the most remote area where nobody can get to, so we love doing it.
Nice.
It really is our passion.
Nice. Nice. Well, with all of these events that we have listed, which one catches your eye the most and why?
Well, the Rebel Rally, of course. It is 7 days long, and I think that's a challenge. I don't get challenged much. I seem to handle good, situations pretty good. So that one, to me, I think it'll be a challenge. I have a lot to learn, and I think it would be really, really neat.
What do you feel like you could bring as part of the team?
Basically, I think I can bring a lot of team spirit. I'm always happy. I know how to get out of difficult situations. I know how to pause and think and, overcome the situation and figure it out.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good at directional. Out in the middle of nowhere, put me in the middle of nowhere, and I can tell you how we're going to get to where we're going. But other than that, I need to learn a lot, and that's what my biggest thing is I want to learn.
Cool. I'm in the same boat. It's there's so many things out there to learn, isn't there? Isn't it fun?
Yes, very neat. I love always taking it to the next level. Like, with the off-road racing, now I want to take it to something else. This sounds really, really neat. Probably the closest to basically Dakar.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, what is something that's kind of molded you to who you are today?
I guess just my family style in life is, I don't know, we don't know anything but the outdoors. I mean, we hate being cooped up and in, and I think being an outdoor girl, and my dad always wanted a boy, and he only got me, so he taught me how to hunt and fish and how to wheel and take care of myself on my own, and pretty much family.
I love it. Well, what's the coolest part about being part of the off-road community in your eyes?
Oh, everyone's like family. Everyone supports each other so much. Like even in this contest, the other off-road girls and Jeep girls were all supporting and rooting on everyone throughout the whole week that we were all stressing out. And I love that everyone's family and everyone is there to help anyone. I've never had to ask for anything, and basically no one has to ask. You just step up and you do. That's what I love about the off-roading community.
I absolutely agree. Such a great core group of people. Well,
yes.
Last question, super fun. If you could pack only one of these things, which one would you take with you? Zip ties or duct tape?
If I could pack only one, I would take duct tape.
Duct tape. That's awesome. All right, Angie. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We have Lauren Martin from Colorado Springs, Colorado on the line. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good, good. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, I actually started when I was really young. I was actually in elementary school, and it's actually my dad who really got me into it. He picked up a Toyota Tacoma kind of back in the early 90s, and we kind of started exploring the Rocky Mountains, and I just loved it so much, and over the year we built up a lot of various off-road vehicles together, and now finally I have my own to go explore out with.
Nice, nice. So what do you have? What do you got going?
Currently I actually have, funny enough, two of the exact same truck.
Yeah.
I have a 98 Toyota Tacoma with the TRD package, and one of them I have pretty built up for rock crawling. And the plans with my other one is I actually really want to long travel it.
Cool.
Mhm.
Very cool. And you do all the work yourself, or?
We do a lot of the work together. He kind of helps me out and points me in the right directions if I ever need help. So we kind of just do everything together. But I do most of the designing and picking the parts and all that stuff.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
So of all these events that we have listed, which one piques your interest the most?
I'm actually really interested in the Rebelle Rally. I thought it looked really fun just because it is a competition for all women. I feel like that's just kind of an added bonus to be able to kind of compete against other women. And just for how long of a competition it is, it just would really like push my limits, and it just sounds really fun to me.
Yeah, it's definitely going to push all of our limits, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think will be the biggest challenge of that whole event?
Definitely being disconnected from the world. That would be a big challenge just because I do like to keep, all my friends updated with what I'm doing. Just, show them what kind of adventures I'm on, and it'll be hard having to, wait and then, oh, you should have seen all the fun stuff we did just for the past week.
Right. Yep. So what is something that you would bring to the table as part of the team?
I'm a really laid-back person. I'm pretty level-headed, and I make sure I am pretty calm and kind of assess situations before I dive into it and make sure I'm making the right decisions. I have really good interpersonal skills, which I've kind of gained from, teaching classes and interacting with all sorts of different people through my work. And I can fly quadcopters. That's also fun.
Well, what do you do for work? I think this is really cool.
I actually work at an indoor shooting range.
Cool, cool. And you help ladies out, right?
Yes. I'm an NRA instructor, and I do teach a lot of first step for women's classes. So I do get a lot of people who come in who've never touched a gun or shot a gun, and they just want to learn how to use it or protect themselves, or just to kind of educate themselves on how to be safe around them.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What's one of your fun off-road experiences that you've had?
One of my most fun ones is actually, I really love going to Easter Jeep Safari. I've been pretty lucky in that I've been able to go almost every year, and that's always just kind of the peak time of my year where I just love going out there because you see all sorts of different vehicles.
Nice.
And I like just all the different designs and the craftsmanship, and I love the vendor show because you get to see all the new technology, and you make so many new friends and meet new people out there. The whole event's just really fun, and I just always love the experience.
Is there something that's happened in your life that's kind of molded you to who you are today?
Yeah, there has been. I'm actually an only child, and both of my parents are in the Air Force. They actually did over 20 years.
Wow.
So that really kind of molded me to who I am today because, having to move around a lot when I was younger, I had to learn to make friends really quickly, and I also had to adapt whenever they had to deploy for, even 6 months
Sure.
more. And, sometimes it was tough because I didn't know where they were going or even how long they were going to be there. And I was always a little nervous, if they were going to be safe or not. So
Sure.
that kind of developed me into the strong person that I am today.
Sure. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see how that might be challenging.
Yeah.
And a lot of moving, too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of my fun questions, if you could only pack one thing, which would you choose? Duct tape or zip ties?
Ooh. That's a good question. I'd probably say duct tape. Just because zip ties are pretty nice, but they are a little bit limited in their uses. At least, you could use duct tape to fix vehicles, or you could even make little survival items, like a little bag if you needed to. So
Yeah.
I think there's more uses for duct tape.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lauren. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you.
I have Rachle Engle from Lancaster, Ohio on the phone. How are you tonight?
I'm awesome, Charlene. How are you?
I'm good. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, ever since I was a little thing, I had a Power Wheels. My mom in her tracker used to take me out. She called it bahaing or diddy bopping, but that was just us being girls back then. And then from there, I worked for Jeep for a while, bought my own Jeep new, backed it off the transport truck, and never looked back.
Really? So you bought a new Jeep? Just
I
went
bought
for
my
it.
TJ new in 2003. It's a 2004.
Wow, and you've done a lot to it since then.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about that.
Well, to start with, it has a high pinion Dana 30 in the front, rocking 410 gears now. Front's trussed. Rear's still a Dana 35, regrettably, but it does have a Detroit locker in it. The front is just a Spartan lunchbox locker, because back here in the East we got mud, and front lockers are kind of necessary sometimes.
Cool.
Chrome molly upgrades, little things here and there. It's a work in progress, but I guess they all are, so.
Cool. Well, what's one of your favorite off-road experiences?
Moab, hands down.
Yeah?
Jesse Combs signing my Jeep, learning to be a ballerina, everything about Moab was just surreal. Winning the tires from BFG. Thanks, guys. Yeah, the Grandpa's Garage, I can't say enough about how amazing Moab was.
So there's actually a really long story around all that, which if you guys are interested in it, go to probably one of our most recent episodes of Bauer Power Hour, where Rachle actually talks all about the trip to Moab. But we'll just kind of move on from that one, because it is an awesome long story.
It is.
But of all the 3 events that we have on this list, which one hits the top of your list and why?
Rebel Rally, absolutely.
Why?
I think you need me. That's an amazing opportunity that otherwise I know I would never get the chance to experience.
Yeah.
Being out that long, that many miles, God knows I can drive across the country. I've proved it a couple times, even to you. It would just be amazing.
So what do you think you can add to our team?
Well, I'm a chef. I was the first female pole vaulter in the state of Ohio, so clearly I'm not afraid to do things that aren't done before.
Uh-huh.
I'm well-rounded. I mean, you've got girls in this group that are really good at things that maybe I'm not so good at, but I'm really well-rounded when it comes to your little list here, darling.
Nice. What is something that maybe has happened in your life that's molded you to who you are today?
Getting divorced from my high school sweetheart was a pretty big deal. Meeting my current Jeep guy, AJ, was a pretty big deal. Being 30 years old and finding out that I had masses in my liver, and then going to an emergency surgery, had one mass that was 12 pounds. They are all benign, thank God. Those, that's probably the top three.
Yeah, I would say that was probably the top three. Holy cow. That's quite the list.
Yeah.
Well, what's one of the coolest parts about being part of the off-road community from your eyes?
The outreach of people, the camaraderie, the families, especially now with all this Ladies Co-Driver Challenge, there's the outpour from women and men supporting all of us, not just me in this. It's been amazing. I mean, I don't have words anymore to explain how thankful, how grateful, how honored I am at this whole experience, and it's restored my faith in a lot of Jeep people, a lot of people in general.
Awesome. Awesome. I agree. It's been really interesting to watch how everybody's acted and reacted. Quite frankly and honestly, I never thought that it would have that kind of impact either. So pretty exciting to have the platform.
Yeah.
So last question. If you could pack only one of these two things, which one would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Doesn't matter. Fixed is fixed.
Well, which one would you pick? You can only pack one.
Duct tape, because enough duct tape will fix anything. And I could probably fashion an outfit out of duct tape, which would be a little hard with zip ties.
Awesome. Awesome, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're awesome.
Thanks for having me back, Charlene. Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
We have Denise Nelson from Blodgett, Oregon on the phone. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Good. So how did you get into off-roading? Tell us your story.
My story began from a company called Tiger Lights here out of Tangent, Oregon, and we sponsor a UTV desert racer, Corey Sappington, with Desert Toys Racing, and so we met through there, and I attended the UTV World Championships, and it was my birthday weekend, and just got thrown in the car for fun, and then the next thing I knew, we were flying down to Mexico, and I was racing the San Felipe 250 with him, and it just went from there. So after I was hooked, and that's where it began.
So you just got thrown into the car in the beginning. Here's a empty seat, and it's short course, so you're just going for a ride at that point, right? And then you got thrown back in a long San Felipe 250 where you have to be a true co-driver. So what did you learn out of those experiences?
I've always been, I love high-pressure situations. I love adrenaline situations. So I really felt like I was in my comfort zone where I could thrive and I could just really be the best that I could be. And after Corey had faith in me after the UTV World Championships, his belief in me is what I went off of. And we just vibed really well during that race. And it was a rough course. We blew shocks a couple times, and we just vibed really well. So going off that and learning just to be confident in my calls and, learn his driving and my calls and go with it.
Nice. Well, what is one of the favorite experiences that you've had off-roading?
I had a hard time answering that question because all of the experiences are fun. San Felipe was great because it was Mexico and it was fun. The Mint 400 was actually really a great time too. Corey was driving; his driving was just flawless that day. We had a really fast lap time. It didn't finish where we wanted to, but they were all great experiences. It's hard to nail down just one.
Do you have off-road experience prior to being in a UTV?
No, I don't.
Cool.
Up in Oregon, not too many people are into off-road or into desert racing, anyways.
Got it.
We're forest, so not before that. No.
Got it. Very cool. So, of these three events that we're looking at, which one is at the top of your list and why?
I looked into that, and I once again, I just feel blessed to have this opportunity, and I would be more than thrilled to attend any of them. They all looked each uniquely fun and had their own, characteristics. So I really honestly couldn't nail down one. I would just be honored to be able to attend any of them.
All right. Well, what can you bring to the team? What do you feel like you're bringing with you?
I feel like I bring a very confident, go with the flow, hardworking person. I have a great attitude. I do everything that I possibly can to help out in any way, shape, or form. And so just to have that helping hand, I think that with a good attitude, that gets along with everybody and isn't afraid to take charge in a critical situation or step up to the plate when things may get tough. In that high-pressure situation, sometimes you can freeze up or lock up or not know what to do, and that's where my comfort zone is. I think that would be my unique quality.
What is one of the biggest challenges that you've overcome?
I really do believe that learning to believe in myself and have confidence in myself and speak with confidence and walk with confidence, while it doesn't need to cross the line into arrogance, you can still present yourself with professionalism and confidence. And so just learning to believe in myself that I can do anything that I set my mind to. God has a great plan for my life, and with him I'm unstoppable, and so just having confidence in myself and believing in myself is the biggest challenge in my life.
I love it.
That I've overcome.
I love it, love it, love it. Since you're kind of new to the off-road group, what do you see as most unique about this off-road community?
Gosh, I grew up riding horses. I grew in the family, and I grew up on the racetrack for motorcycles. But what was it? I think it was at Minute 400. At the drivers' meeting. It just really touched my heart. There was a speaker about his accident and at the Mint the previous year, and just to see the true family quality of this off-road sport was just absolutely, it was just, you could feel it in the room. There's not too many places where you go and there's so many hundreds of people and you can just feel the raw emotion and the just genuine caring and love in the room. So I think that was a great experience to be able to be in and hear his story.
Excellent. Well, if you could pack one of these two things, which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Oh, goodness. Duct tape. You can fix anything with duct tape.
Awesome. I love it.
And when you come from Blodgett, Oregon with 200 people, you got duct tape everywhere.
Great, Denise. Great job. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We have Alice Gerst from Big Rapids, Michigan. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, my husband was definitely in before I was, and we did a lot of backyard-type mud bogs and mud racing, and I was pretty much the power wash person and the camera person, always bringing a pair of waders so I could get the good shots from the swamp. And he decided that the mud was getting to be a lot of work. So he decided he's going to build an off-road buggy, an S10 with the exo cage and all this. But as the parts kept coming in, and the UPS guy kept showing up, and the credit card kept billing, he said, "This one's for you, honey. This one's for you. And we're done. This one's for you. You're going to drive it." But I know he had no intention of me driving this thing. So I decided that when it's done, I'm cleaning this thing. So it finished up, and he started driving. I said, "No, this one's mine. Where's the key?" Because it was pretty much a turnkey setup. He said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yeah, remember, you told me, and you keep telling people that you're building it for me, so I'm driving it." And I was pretty much scared to death because I could go up hills and I could go down hills, and I felt like I was going to fall over and not know what was going to happen. But that was really where it all began. So that's where my off-roading started.
So you just said, "No, I'm calling you out," right?
Exactly. Yeah. So then he went ahead and built himself a buggy so that we could do it together, because he thought, well, this will be a great thing that we can do as a family.
Oh, that's awesome. So now you guys take two buggies out.
Yes.
Great. That's great. I love to hear that. What's one of your favorite off-road experiences?
Well, a few years back, I had a girlfriend that was a Jeeper, and we wheeled together, and my buggy was built a little more than hers, and we wanted to go on Extreme Truck Challenge. The rest of the teams were guys, and that didn't bother us. And we just were doing it for fun. We had no idea that we would do any good, or we really didn't care because we were doing it for fun. We would get to the start line, and in my tape deck, this is old, so it had a tape deck in it, and I had Foxworthy playing, and we would just sit back and giggle and fix our lipstick and our hair at the line, and they were trying to get us to go, and we said, we're not in a hurry. You know, if we haven't passed the timer yet, we're not going, right? And they said, no, take your time. So we kind of played it up, and we went through all the courses, and the one course that we went through, it was pretty much a man-made course with, like, some deep ditches. Come up over the hump, we rolled it on its top. I said, I think you can put this thing back up on its wheels. Well, the wheels spun it around, and we were facing backwards. The whole crowd came out, and they flipped us back up, and I looked at them, I said, we can still go, right? And they said, yeah, you're still in time. So we did. We took off, and we kept going, and then we come up over this cement hump thing, flipped it over again. Well, she's all of 100 pounds soaking wet. She jumps out, she grabs the winch, and she pulls us back up on her tires again, and we take off. Well, that time it kind of crinkled up a tire, so here we are gimping it in, but we made it in within the 20-minute time.
That's
and
awesome.
Overall, we come in 6th place out of, I think it was 12 teams that day.
That's awesome.
So it was a good day.
So of all the events that we have listed, which one caught your interest?
Well, I like the UWary event.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of sounds of interest to me because it's a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot skeet. My husband actually bought me a shotgun one year for Christmas. That's when everybody said we must be going to be okay. and then I like doing things on the water. When we go to Canada, we usually have some different areas that we cross water. So probably I chose that mostly because that's more of a comfort zone thing.
Cool. Love it. What's one of the coolest parts that you've seen being part of the off-road industry?
I like the family involvement. I like where the kids, they're sparked up. They're loving it. And it can be something that they can always be involved with. Mm-hmm. And it's not just that they're going for a ride. They're learning, hey, I can fix a tire. Mm-hmm. I can do this. And they're a part of something a little more. They don't realize it, I don't think, at the time. But even my daughter, when she goes with us, now she'll see somebody that went in the ditch alongside the road, and she's thinking, well, I don't know why they don't just drive out of there. They're learning probably more, absorbing more along the way than they have any idea.
Yeah. Well, I think we all have. I'm just as guilty. I didn't even think to what I was learning when I was a kid until now. Awesome. Well, if you could pack one of these two items, which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Duct tape. I could use duct tape in the place of a zip tie in a lot of situations.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Alice. You've been so much fun.
Okay, thank you.
We have Audrey Byrd from Henderson, Nevada with us. How are you tonight?
I am great.
Good.
How is everybody else out there? You're doing good?
Good. So how did you get into off-roading?
Oh, boy. I grew up with horses. I trained horses, competed, even broke wild horses. I grew up on spending my summers on a cattle ranch with my grandfather and my cousins. So being a girl, I kind of had to prove myself and be a tomboy and show them I could, do what they did as much as they did. So along with the cattle ranch, we all had dirt bikes and mini bikes that we learned how to ride around on the ranch. And from there, I went to mopeds, then back in the days, the three-wheelers, the ATCs, and then the ATVs, the Honda Odysseys. I even had a little Myers Manx I played around in the sand dunes with.
Cool.
So I even all the way up to today's date, I still have a Can-Am 800 ATV and my 2010 Jeep JKU.
Nice.
So I've always been in off-roading, whether it was horses, dirt, bikes, mopeds, you name it. It was all revolved around dirt.
Cool. What's one of your favorite off-road experiences? What comes to mind first?
Oh, my goodness. That is a tough question. But I'll go with one that's happened in the last couple of years. We took a 4-day, 3-night trip through Death Valley, and I believe there was 13 Jeeps total, if I remember. And it was like our second night that we were traveling along, and we went from the desert floor that was still up in the mid to upper 80s to up in the mountains where it started raining on us. And we had been sleeping in our Jeeps or tents or cots and so forth. And all of a sudden a freak snowstorm came in, so we all went into this old miner's cabin and huddled in there for the night and spent 3/4 of the night laughing and joking and not sleeping. And just, from that night, the next day, we woke up to over a foot of snow on all our Jeeps. The doors were frozen shut on our Jeeps, and we continued on plowing new tracks in the snow. And to this day, I still enjoy talking to a lot of those people and reminiscing about that story.
Very awesome. That's fun. That was a wild experience, huh?
It was a lot of fun. It was, very much fun. The age range of the people in that group were 23 to 78. And, of course, I sit in the middle somewhere, but...
Nice. So, of the 3 events that we have on the board, which one interests you the most and why?
Oh, goodness. I guess I would say the Rally Venture because of the fact that I heard more about that one last year and have seen a few videos on it. So I know it's clear. I'm in Nevada, so it starts Reno and so forth.
Yeah.
So the Rally Venture just seems like it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know as much about the other events, but, any or all of them would be exciting to me.
Right.
Anything new. Uh-huh.
They're also different. What do you bring to the team?
Well, I bring a smile, number one.
Always. Audrey always has a smile on.
A smile.
And salsa.
And salsa, homemade salsa. Yes, I always bring that.
Yep. I know both of those things.
Let's see, a lifetime experiences of everything, all kinds of stuff. Being a mom, I can't even tell you all the different experiences. Mostly, I think I would be a great team player. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily have to be the team leader, but a good team player. And like I said, a smile, good communication. I listen. I know a lot of times I'm not a computer, so I'm wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and I admit I'm being wrong. So I think that's something good for the team.
True. That's always something that makes it interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. What's one of the coolest parts about being part of the off-road community?
Gosh, the coolest part in my mind is meeting people for the first time, and it doesn't matter whether they are driving any kind of Jeep or vehicle off-road, and it's a broken down old junker, clunker, to something that's worth well over $100,000. The people can be nobody, or they can own big companies, and they're all nice. They're all very nice to you, and they're all willing to help you. If they're on the trail with you and you're broke down, they have no problem stepping in and helping. I had that experience just when I was at Easter Jeep Safari. So, that's just becoming like one big family, and they remember you.
Awesome. Well, if you had to choose between these 2 items to pack, which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Probably duct tape.
Yeah.
I think duct tape. Zip ties, I put them on and you pull them really tight and they snap. So with duct tape, you can just wrap it a whole bunch of times.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you, Audrey, so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. And good luck to everybody out there, whether it's myself or anybody else. I'm sure we're all very, very excited and just can't wait for this adventure to continue to the next level. How's that?
I agree.
So thank you.
I definitely agree. All right, we have Jessica Chasse with us next from Maricopa, Arizona. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us how you got into off-roading.
I got into off-roading when I bought my Jeep. I wanted to buy a 4x4 vehicle so I could get to more places in Arizona. There's so many great camping spots and hiking spots that I was unable to get to because of my daily driver. I don't share the vehicle type because people make fun of me for it. But I
Can't
was looking
be that bad.
It is. Everybody who knows me always mocks me for it, so it goes unnamed.
Okay, gotcha.
I was looking for a beater 4x4 truck that it really, didn't want to spend a ton of money on it. Yeah. And then I just decided, just go for it. I've wanted a Jeep since I was a little kid. We had a Barbie pink Jeep. That thing, every kid had that every girl had that Barbie pink Jeep, and it was awesome. And Ken drove it more than Barbie did because it was that awesome. So we decided, I decided, screw it, I'm buying a Jeep. I got my Jeep, and since then it's just taken off, and I fell into rock crawling almost by accident and fell in love.
Cool. So what's been one of your favorite off-roading experiences?
The one I always go back to is the first time I ran Coke Ovens. We have a run with my club. Every year we have the owner's permissions to go there. Mm-hmm. And it was my second run with the club. It was my second rock crawling adventure ever. And I was terrified. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to roll down a hill and end up upside down. It was so scary to me. So that was my second experience off-road.
Yeah.
And then the next year, every time there was a trail, I went and did Lower Terminator open, and I've done Upper Terminator open. I learned how my Jeep moved. I learned how it drove. I learned the ins and outs of my Jeep. The next year, I ran that exact same trail, and I couldn't figure out what I was so scared of. It just seemed so easy, and I was just amazed at how much I'd grown and learned in just 1 year.
Wow. Isn't that awesome when you get to go back and do another trail or do the same trail again and say, oh, this is so easy?
It was perfectly timed too, because I'm going to use this to measure how much I've accomplished in a year, and it blew me away.
Awesome. I'm proud of you, girl. Good job.
Thank you.
So of the 3 events that are on our schedule, which one caught your eye and why?
The Rebel Rally. That one seems just totally kick-ass and awesome. I apologize for my language. But you're in the middle of nowhere. Granted, I realize there are going to be support people, and if somebody's truly, they're not going to let anybody die out in the desert.
Right, exactly.
You're not going to, it's as safe as you can be in a totally inhospitable place as possible, but that you're getting out with your own will, with your own knowledge, with what you can do. If you can find a way to make it work, you're going to get out of there of your own power, and it's all based on how well you perform.
Agreed.
Without running into the problem that, in Arizona, where we have to be careful that you go out in the desert alone, there's a chance you may not come back.
Yeah. No, we definitely have our support team, I guess I should say, behind us with the event. So, and I know a group of them that are part of it, so I know we definitely have our backs covered, that's for sure.
So you get the experience of that.
Yes. So what would you bring to the team? What would you add to our team?
My positive attitude, and I love challenges. I love to learn. I always try to take away something from every off-roading adventure I go on, every rock crawling trail. I always try to have one takeaway. What did I do this time that made it easier for me and my vehicle, or what did I learn about recovery, or that time I got really tippy. How can I stop that from happening in the future? Because getting really tippy is scary.
Yeah.
So I like to take on challenges and just learn and file it away. And next time it comes up, I I have a catalog and a database of how to attack it.
Nice. Well, what's one of the neatest parts about being part of this off-road community in your eyes?
How much everybody cares about one another. You know, we all talk smack, especially Jeep people. TJ people rag on JKs, JKs rag on XJs, XJs rag. Everybody rags on everybody else, but when push comes to shove, they've got your back. That, you know, when you're out on a trail, you're never alone. Something happens, somebody's going to help you. They've got your back.
I agree. All right, last question, kind of fun. So you can only pack one of these two items. Which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Duct tape, because I can fashion a ready-made, similar to a zip tie using duct tape. But you cannot do the same with a zip tie.
Love it. All right, great answers. Thanks, Jessica.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. We have Teralin Petereit from Moab, Utah on the phone. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So how did you get into off-roading?
I went to a Moab Easter Jeep Safari when I was 17. I climbed into someone's Toyota, and when they told me to hop out, I said, well, you know, after I drive to the top of the hill, we were at Potato Salad, and they let me drive up, and I was hooked, and I went home and got my own truck and started from there.
So wait, the first time you ever drove was on Potato Salad Hill? It
was, yeah, in a manual. I'd never really driven too much off-road besides dirt roads in the mountains, and it was George Breakall in his red Toyota, and he said, put it in third and don't slow down, and up I went, and it was so fun. I had to go and, you know, get my own truck, and I've loved it ever since.
So you have a Toyota?
I do. Yep, I've got a 87 pickup crawler.
And what, you've done most of the work yourself, or?
Yeah, so it was important to me to, learn everything on my truck so that if I ever had problems, I'd be able to take care of it myself. So I'm a welder, so I welded the cage. It has triple transfer cases, 37s with a 5-inch Marlin lift. I did the solid axle swap on the front end, and it's about a 500 to 1 gear ratio. So it's a slow machine.
That's awesome. Well, what's one of your favorite off-road experiences that you talk about?
I would say doing Coyote Ugly. It's a trail there in Moab, and my big brothers had Jeeps, and they always talked about this crazy trail, you know, Coyote Ugly, this gnarly trail that is so nuts down in Moab. And the first time I went with a friend of mine, we got permits through that trail. I was so intimidated and so scared, and when I made it through without needing a winch or, you know, getting stuck, I was pretty excited. So that I felt pretty accomplished at that point with my build, and that was an exciting day for me.
Very cool. It's always neat to accomplish something that somebody tells you can't do, huh?
Right, yeah.
So we have 3 events on the docket. Which one caught your eye and why?
Definitely the Rebel Rally. Starts in Tahoe, which I love, and when you said, you know, it's 10 days across the desert with a map and a compass, no cell phone service, all that stuff, that just seems like the craziest, funnest, you know, experience to have. So I think that would be a really fun one. All
right. It is going to be pretty crazy. What do you think you can bring to the team? What do you bring in with you?
I would say just experience. You know, I lived in Moab for 3 years, wheeling all the time, and just, you know, having a lot of hours out on the trails. You come across a lot of unexpected obstacles and things with your vehicles and friends' vehicles, and so I would bring, you know, experience to overcome obstacles out in the desert.
Sure.
Also, I'm pretty mechanical from building my own rig, so if there were any issues there. And I'd say just pure entertainment. Have a good time.
Right. Okay, cool. So tell me about living in Moab. That's got to be pretty awesome.
Oh, gosh, I love it. There's just so many recreational activities so close. You don't have to drive across the city or to the one spot where it's so crowded. Obviously, it is a tourist destination, but there's just so many options for all kinds of stuff, off-roading, but climbing, hiking, mountain biking, the river. We have mountains close by, and so I'm an outdoor girl, so it's where I feel at home, and I love it.
Perfect. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've ever overcome?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I was married young and went through a divorce. Overcoming that was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But I did learn a lot, just being able to be a little independent, and the rock crawler is a good example. I really wanted a rock crawler, so instead of relying on my husband or someone to do it for me, I really started learning to do things on my own and making things happen that I wanted to happen. So that was probably my biggest obstacle.
Cool. Well, if you could pack one of these two things, which would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Ooh. I'm going to go zip ties.
Yeah.
Zip ties on that one.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Teralin.
Sure. Thank you for the call.
All right. We got Kristen Endres from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome. So how did you get into off-roading?
One of our local Jeep clubs around here holds a Jeep Jam every summer, and we started off with my husband's Jeep, and I saw it online, I saw it on Facebook, and it was one of those random really nice days, and I said, hey, you want to drive up to Muddy Buddy's Jeep Jam and check it out? And once we, as we call it, survived their trail ride, we're looking back on it now, it was nothing, but we got out of it, and we were like, this is awesome. Where do we go from here? So it was one of those things, it was literally, we got our first taste of it, and we've been hooked ever since.
So was his Jeep built up at all, or you guys just kind of had a stock Jeep and you're just looking for something fun to do, or?
At that time, his Jeep was stock with mud tires on it, and when we put the mud tires on it, we thought we had done something. So we get out there with all the other built Jeeps, and at first we were really intimidated, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once you get out there and you get the taste of it, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So what has been your favorite off-roading experience? What's one you talk about?
My favorite off-roading experience was, so my JK that I have now is actually the second Jeep that I have had that I've called my own.
Okay.
My first one was a TJ, but the second one is a JK. And the first time I took my JK out, I had a little bit of a lift on it, had actually the same mud tires that were on my husband's JKU previously, put them on mine, and I had a blast. I followed one of my friends who's been wheeling for a really long time, and he took me through everything and kind of talked me through it, and I was super confident, and I had a lot of fun, and It was one of those things that I kind of felt like I had found my niche, and I challenged myself, and I succeeded in everything that I challenged myself in, and I left that trip feeling awesome.
Awesome. So do you guys both have JKs now? So you kind of wheel together, or?
We do. Mine is a two-door, so mine is just a JK, and his is a JKU. So yeah, we wheel together. It's kind of one of those things now where if for whatever reason, one of us can't make it, it's you kind of feel like your partner in crime is missing. But it's still fun for us to get out there and do things on our own and come back and talk about our wheeling trips and, oh, you should have seen me do this, and oh, you should have seen me do that. But yeah, we have both Jeeps, and a lot of the trips we take both of them.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. So with these 3 events on the docket, which one caught your eye and why?
The one that caught my attention the most was the 36 hours of, I think I'm saying it right, Uwharrie? Uwharrie.
Yeah.
Okay. And that one caught my eye because of the vast skill set that it encompasses. The canoeing and the skeet shooting and, the kind of being out there in the wilderness, and where it talks about, the difficult terrain. Those are the sort of things that, I feel like I can challenge myself and push myself. And it's just kind of, I don't know, I thought it sounded like a really cool experience, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of opportunities to learn something and push myself and use the skills that I already have and build on those.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be pretty wild. to be quite frank about it.
Right.
I think we're all going to be pushed pretty far.
Right.
At least that's their goal for us.
Right.
I do know that part. Yeah.
I see that happening.
What do you feel like you can bring to our team?
I have always been really positive. Like when we get ourselves into a sticky situation, I'm always that person that's like, okay, guys, we're not going to panic. We can do this. You know, you're good at this and you're good at this, so then we'll put those two together and we'll figure it out. And even if it's one of those things that we don't succeed or it doesn't turn out perfectly, you know, I always try to like smile and joke about it. And I'm one of those people that I always keep in mind it could always be worse.
Yeah.
So whatever situation we're in, we're going to get through it, and we're going to remind ourselves that as bad as it was, it could have always been worse.
Yeah. Yeah. We're still standing upright. Everything is good.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Is there a major event that has shaped who you are today, or?
The life-changing event in my life was definitely having my son. He's my everything. You know, he's all boy. So the whole wheeling thing, he rides with me all the time. He's my little co-pilot in the back seat who's not paying attention half of the time. But we'll be at the bottom of a trail, and we'll have a really steep hill climb, and he's like, all right, mommy, let's go, you got this.
Oh.
Because he's in my back seat, I have to do it. I can't fail. I can't let my kids see me fail. So he's the 20-year-old me would be really surprised at how patient the 30-year-old me is, and he has taught me a lot of that, and he's always pushed me to do better and to be better.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, if you could pack one of these two things, which would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Definitely zip ties. You can, in my opinion, I guess what I'm getting to say, zip ties are stronger. You can, I guess you could wrap duct tape around a million times, but I feel like that a zip tie would fit into a smaller space, and you can kind of get creative with where you zip tie things to other things. Duct tape, on the other hand, it's big and it's sticky, so it's not quite as versatile.
Awesome. Nice job, Kristen. Thanks for calling.
All right. Thank you.
When you're driving down the road, the last thing you want to think about is tires. Trust Discount Tire to get you up to speed on the right tire for your vehicle. Log on now to discounttire.com for the best deals on tires and wheels. We're America's largest independent tire store. Come check us out, and we'll show you why. And remember, if ever you're not satisfied with one of our tires, please feel free to bring it back. Thank you.
All right, we have Leigh SIngleton from Edmond, Oklahoma on the line. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Okay, it's kind of an unusual story, and I'll try to make it really quick, but my husband and I were on our way home from the grocery store, and he whipped into this bank parking lot, and I said, "What are you doing?" Probably rudely. And he said, "You told me you wanted to look at this Jeep," and there was this little two-door Wrangler sitting there, and I said, "No, I didn't." And I don't remember saying that. Perhaps I did, but we looked at it, I drove it, and I decided it was a little too small because it would have to be my daily driver as well. So I went to look at a four-door, bought it, and fell in love. And it's basically changed my life. Then I joined our local group called Red Dirt Jeeps and started going out with them, and it's just been loads of fun ever since.
So you were just looking for, quote unquote, a new car, and you ended up with a new
car
group.
Yeah, no, I wasn't looking for a new car. I don't know where that came from that he thought I wanted to look at that Jeep, but I'm glad that he did.
So does he go with you on these trips, or is he just like, oh, she has something new to do now?
Yeah, it's more like that. He doesn't necessarily go with me locally, but he loves to go to Sedona, and we rent a Jeep up there and go on their trails, and he loves doing that. So do I.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, with all that being said, then what's been one of your favorite off-road experiences that you've had, maybe past Sedona?
Right. You know, honestly, because it's touching to me, the very first
red dirt Jeep event I went to was not necessarily a wheeling event. It was at a lake, and it was primarily set up for kids. And I went just to meet the people, and I was talking to some people, and they were looking at my Jeep. And I said, I'd never been off-roading before. And what really touched me was there's this group of guys, they're like 26 to 35 years old. And rather than going, look, this is another mall crawler. Look at her Jeep. It's never been off-road, da-da-da-da-da. Instead of doing that, they said, hey, come down here to the river with us, because there's a river just right by where we were, and we'll do some off-roading. And so I went down there with them, and it was the most exhilarating feeling going through the side of that river. They went across it. I wasn't quite ready for that yet on my first outing. But what that did to me was just tell me that Jeepers are great people.
Yeah.
And they accept everyone. And they don't look down on people who have maybe a stock Jeep or have never been off-roading. They just say, come on, come with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I 100% agree with you on that. Isn't it fun?
It is. It's great. I've met so many people. It's amazing.
So with all these events that we have going on, which one caught your eye and why?
I would say Rally Venture caught my eye. Number one, I'll admit I'm not a big off-roader. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience. So UARI is totally not something I want to do right now.
Fair enough.
Yes, but the Rebel Rally sounded like something that would use my skills because, and I read about it, it didn't go into a lot of detail on the website about what it was, but it sounds like you need social media skills, like perhaps you have used social media to help you find things, and you have to have good hounding skills for the geocaching, and it sounds like there's some other challenges along the way that require you to be athletic. So I thought that one sounded like it was perfect for me.
So what is something that you could bring to our team for Rally Venture?
Well, I would say probably my top skill for that is my attention to detail. And ask anyone, I have complete attention to detail, probably to the degree of driving people nuts. And I know you have to read instructions carefully and follow them, and I'm one of those people that drive people nuts that pull out the instructions on anything I buy. You know, even a coffee maker that's pretty simple. You pour water in, put coffee in, push the button. I still read the instructions.
Oh, geez.
It's just what I do.
What's one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome?
I would say the biggest challenge that I have had to overcome is shyness. I was born shy. I was one of those little kids who hid behind their mama, and I was just very shy. And I decided when I was in college that this just isn't how I want to live my life. And it wasn't necessarily a conscious decision, as more a realization. And so I started just putting myself out there slowly, like joining a club or just even saying hello to someone when you're really shy is a scary thing. So I just started kind of putting myself out a little bit at a time and ended up becoming a public speaker. So who knew?
Well, super proud of you for that. I was going to say, your interview here says nothing about being shy. You've done a great job. It's awesome.
Thank you. See, I overcame it.
You did. You did. High five. Okay, last and fun question. If you could pack only one of these two things, which would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Oh, that's a tough one. Only one, duct tape or zip ties. I'm going to say duct tape. I think you can do more with duct tape than zip ties. Zip ties are shorter. And duct tape, you know, you can make it as long or as short as you need it to be. So I think for that reason, it would be better.
Love it. Love it. Well, awesome, Leigh. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
We have Rebecca Donaghe from Marina Del Rey, California. Beautiful Marina Del Rey. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well today, and yes, it's gorgeous. We've got nice wind. I probably should be out sailing.
Awesome.
We've got things to do.
Yeah, we do. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Every year I try to take on something new, some kind of new challenge or something, maybe a little bit crazy, definitely outside of my comfort zone. And I was planning for a Machu Picchu trip coming up, and was at a party and had a very good friend of mine step in, and she looked a little tan and slightly dazed. So I asked her what she'd been up to, and she told me about the Gazelle Rally, and I was floored. I thought, oh, okay, perfect. This is exactly what I want to do. I had no idea how it was going to happen. I didn't know what I was going to have to do to make it happen, but I called my best friend and said, this is what we're doing next year.
Cool.
And I started training for it with Emily Miller and all the other U.S. Gazelles and fell in love. And it's...
So you did the Gazelle Rally. Have you competed in it?
I did. In 2015, Barbara Fiorentino, my best friend, and I went over and we competed with 160 other teams, over 300 other women, and we actually got 56 overall, which for us...
That's great. Yeah.
Any American team that's gone over that's competed for the first time before we got there, that was one of the higher ranking finishes for a first-timer.
That's awesome. Well, with all the events that we have listed, which one caught your eye and why?
The Rebelle Rally above everything else, definitely, although the other two sound amazing and really challenging. The Rebelle, just simply because, I'm familiar with the format, at least, having done the Gazelle, and it's addictive. It's really amazing, and the length of it is what makes it super challenging, and it brings up everything you could possibly be fighting with internally, and with your, seeing that with your partner. You don't get that same kind of experience with a shorter event.
Yeah.
But it's also just that it's the inaugural one in the U.S. and all women, and going to be a spectacular event. So I'd love to be part of it.
So what do you bring to our team?
Oh, wow. Well, with my, I can list off my skills, like my navigation skills, especially, with the experience of the Gazelle, but then also my sailing, all the navigation that I've done with that. Obviously, it's slightly different, but it all works into that skill, and the training that I've had. But I know, really, it's my ability to laugh pretty much through everything, and even when you're exhausted, being able to maintain focus and being able to recover from mistakes, that's the biggest challenge, especially in an event that lasts more than a week, where you're every day, every moment, you have to summon some type of concentration, and you're exhausted. The mistakes can be huge.
Yeah.
And your ability to just take a look at that mistake, admit it, see what you can learn from it, lament it for a second, and then move on, because there's another mistake, there's another victory, there's another, there's another great high and another great low waiting for you, and you need to be ready for it. You can't dwell. And I think that was a giant lesson that I learned in the Gazelle over and over. You kind of have to have it going in to begin with, but it challenges you. It doesn't matter how much you think. You're ready and able to make mistakes and get over them. It really forces you to practice it throughout it every single day.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the things about the Rebelle Rally I really look forward to. Is challenging as I know it is, you still have to wake up the next morning and do it all over again and forget what happened the day before and move forward. Yeah. So
every checkpoint is like that. Almost then it becomes almost every landmark because you'll be lost and have to figure out, you've got to triangulate, you've got to do whatever you can to figure out where you are, and then once you do, you get to start over.
Yeah.
You get to start over every time, and it doesn't matter what just happened. Everything's about moving forward, and you can think, oh my God, we're never going to make that mistake again, and you won't, but you're going to certainly make another one of some other sort that you didn't expect.
I love it. Yeah. All right, well, if you could pick between one of these two things, which one would you pack? Duct tape or zip ties?
Ooh. I don't know why, but I really love zip ties. I would. Can I give it something else and take them both? But I love zip ties, but you got to have strong ones, the super duty ones. Actually, the little funny ones are good too because I've used them for all kinds of silly stuff. But yeah, I actually brought a full giant pack of multiple sizes of zip ties with me.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rebeca.
Thank you, Charlene, and thanks for doing this. This has already been an incredible and unforgettable experience, so thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. We have Trisha Glezen from Vestal, New York. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about this whole thing.
Yay! I know, me too. So tell me, how did you get into off-roading?
I got into off-roading when I was probably in early elementary school. My father, he had an old CJ, and for fun, he would take it out in the woods and take the doors off, put the windshield down, put the top off, and he'd take us kids out and see how stuck we could get it. And that was really the majority of the times I can remember of my dad. I mean, he's still around, but that was the highlight of my time with him. And
cool.
Then I got a Jeep. I always wanted a Jeep, and I bought one stock, and I actually got it to where I wanted it, and I took it down to a local mud hole, buried it, and that's how I all got started. That's when I slowly I just started figuring out, okay, now I need a winch, now I need bumpers, now I need a bigger lift, now I need a snorkel after I sunk it. So it's a learning process for me, and I'm just loving every minute of it.
Cool, and you do a lot of the work yourself, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so there's actually, I've been lucky enough to have really good friends that have taught me a lot. My father didn't really teach me a whole lot about mechanics, but I've had good friends that I'm always want to learn myself, get my hands dirty. I'm the kind of girl that's independent, so I want to learn something and be able to utilize it on my own. So, I can do odds and ends. I can do brakes, oil, filters, things like that, changing out spark plugs. Pretty much, you give me some tools and I can figure it out. But I just started doing some welding. We're doing a whole front axle in my Jeep right now, so I'm learning a lot about that.
Cool.
Just the way that the suspension works and things like that. But if if I need something done on my Jeep, I'm out there doing it.
So with the 3 events that we have on the list, which one caught your attention and why?
The Rally Venture and the Rally Venture and the 36 Hours, those both were really interesting to me, especially the fact that there was kayaks involved, guns, wheeling, the whole shebang. The Rally Venture, I'm a very big outdoors person. I love to hunt and I have a collection of guns. I have kayaks. I love to be out in the water. I was just out fishing today. The kayaks. So I'm a big outdoorsy person.
Cool.
And I love wheeling. That's like a bonus there. I mean, it sounds like everything I like to do.
Exactly. All wrapped into one, right?
Yeah. And then the, learning, I have to learn a little bit more about maps, but I'm really good at taking direction and figuring things out in navigation. I love to go out and with people out, try different trails, see what my Jeep can do, that kind of a thing. So challenging myself and my abilities and what I think I can do would be awesome.
Cool. What do you feel that you would be bringing to our team?
Well, I'm very hardworking. I'm a nice person. I get along with everybody. I don't have any enemies, I don't think. I'm adventurous. I like to push myself. I think I can bring a lot to the table just with the wheeling stance, the shooting, the kayaking, navigation, winching, mechanical sort of things. I can kind of take something and run with it. Team player. I don't know, I have a lot of energy. And I just like to go have fun and be outside and push yourself, and that's what life's all about, is live it.
Perfect. Well, you've had a couple challenges that you've overcome. Why don't you tell us about them?
Yep. One of the first challenges I dealt with a couple years ago was I was actually very unhealthy. They were going to put me on blood pressure medicine. I was high cholesterol, and I was pre-diabetic, and I was just out of high school. And I knew I had to change something. So part of my New Year's resolution was to lose weight. Within the year, I lost over 100 pounds, and in total 126 pounds, and I've kept it off about 3 or 4 years now. And it's just being outside, being active and outdoors, you have to be healthy. So now I can actually enjoy life. I feel better.
That's awesome,
it's been
girl.
a lifestyle change. I've tried to bring a lot of my friends look to me to bring them to the gym and nutritional tips and just lifestyle changes, things like that. Just recently, my best friend, he was the one who got me so intrigued with Jeeps. We worked in the garage all night, a lot of nights. We went to wheeling events. Everything about Jeeps was the two of us. And I actually lost him. It was 2 months ago. We were up snowmobiling. And that's been the biggest challenge, is just trying to live the way that I know he wants me to live. He always saw the best in me and thought he always promoted me and encouraged me to do all these events, and he had so much faith in me, and I want to keep that going. I know this event would make him so proud, because it's pushing myself a little bit out of my comfort zone, maybe in a couple of aspects, just traveling and not knowing what to expect, but I know he'd be all for it. At first I looked at my Jeep. Everything about my Jeep is me and Scooter, and at first it was really hard, but it's like he's riding passenger with me every time, just encouraging me, like, yeah, you can make this hill, and you can make this corner, or you got this mud bog. And so that's the biggest thing, is just living through him, making sure his dreams that he wanted to happen, all his projects happen. So
yeah, I love your attitude on both. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you could pick one out of these two items, which one would you bring with you? Duct tape or zip ties?
I'm going to go with zip ties. I really like zip ties. There's a lot you can do with them. You can make them a lot longer. They're strong. I've used them. I have a whole bundle of zip ties in the back, and I've honestly do have duct tape in there, but I've not used it yet in the back of my rig. So I'd have to go with the zip ties.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Trisha.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Charlene.
We have Tina Ray from Honolulu, Hawaii on the line. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Aloha.
Yay. Yes, I love Hawaii. It's so exciting that you're on with us. This is great. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Actually, I bought a Jeep, brand new, just to be my daily driver. And I had a couple of guys here on island take me off-roading. And I was pretty much hooked. I was like, what do I need to get? What's the next thing I need to get? And I went from a stock Dana 30 and rear 44 Sport, a Sport Jeep. And I've built it. I have a Ford 609 in the front and a fully trussed out rear, re-geared it. I've taken apart and put that together in my Jeep multiple times, just to get things right and figure them out myself. And even got my son involved in it. He bought his own Jeep as well, and we work together on that.
Cool. What's been one of your most favorite off-road experiences?
It was actually with my son. We've been off-roading for a couple of years, and he bought his own Jeep, and he was able to take it off-roading, and I rode passenger with him, and just watching him on the obstacles, that fear, but also that excitement and just grinning from ear to ear the whole time, both of us. It was an amazing accomplishment for he and I both. So, to me, as a mom and an off-roader, having your son out there wrenching with you, wheeling with you, and, really bonding together.
Yeah, And that's exciting to have your son as part of all this as well. So with the 3 events that we have listed, which one caught your eye and why?
The one in North Carolina, of course, because I'm a North Carolina girl. So I was like, yes, back home. So that one's just, and not to mention it's more of, it's racing or whatever, but it's also doing other obstacle things, challenging yourself. And I feel like in the last couple of years of working on my Jeep and learning things and building it, challenged myself so much that I feel like I can get in there and do things, and being a part of a team and learning how to do it, and just making things happen. I mean, I learned how to weld, I learned how to fabricate, all those things in my garage working on my Jeep. So, I get out wheeling with the guys, and of course I have to show my stuff. I can do it. So I'm all about, pushing your limits and doing new things and finding a way to make it work.
Very cool. What would you bring to the team?
I'm big on making things happen, overcoming those obstacles. I have I was young when I was a parent, single mom. I put myself through nursing school with 2 kids, and I just overcome obstacles. Anytime there's anything in my way, I'm going to find a way to make it work, and we're going to get through it. And I just bring that skill of being able to overcome and work through the challenge until it's done.
Tell us about wheeling in Hawaii.
So wheeling in Hawaii, there's very limited space here for us to wheel, but we make the best of the areas that we have. And the most amazing thing about wheeling here in Hawaii is the scenery. The scenery is amazing. Almost everywhere that you go, you're either up on a mountain looking down at the ocean views, 360 views of the island, and then you come into little trenches where you just feel like you're in another world. It's not like back home in North Carolina. It's like a forest, but then there's Hawaiian vegetation all around. It's like you're in paradise. You're like wheeling around in paradise.
That's awesome. I can hardly wait. I want to come back. I got to play a little bit in Maui, but I know every island is so different. So, yeah.
Yeah, anytime, yeah.
Yeah. Is there something that's kind of molded you into who you are today?
I think there's a lot of things that have molded into who I am today. My son was diagnosed with, high-functioning autism years back, and, we had to adjust a lot of things in our household and a lot of things from how we saw things. We had to learn how to talk differently and relate differently. And over the years of doing that, it gives you so much compassion and understanding for so many other people and their personalities and things that they grasp onto differently than you. So I'm a nurse, so, I relate to all kinds of different things and different people, but that has, instilled so much compassion and patience and endurance in me.
If you could pack one of these 2 items, which one would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Duct tape. You can't zip tie everything. It's got to have holes in it to zip tie it. But you can duct tape something up.
I love it. Right on, Tina. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, we got Rebeca Olavarrieta on the phone from Miami, Florida. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thanks. What about you guys?
Great, thank you. So tell us, how did you get into off-road?
Well, initially my brother worked as a mechanic in a four-wheel shop, and I used to be a lot into racing. And one weekend he's like, hey, come wheeling with us. And the scene at the track is very hardcore. People are very competitive, and, nobody wants to see what's under each other's hoods. And I was kind of used to that, When I went wheeling with my brother, everybody helped each other out. I mean, there was even guys that we didn't even know, and we were winching them out. And it was pretty amazing to see how different the culture was. Even though we were all, let's say, in the cloud of automotive enthusiasts, everybody reacted very differently than what I was used to at the track. So I kind of got hooked. I was like, yeah, this is the kind of crowd that I want to be hanging out on the weekends. So from that point on, I kind of stuck with him, and then we started working together at the shop. And it's been 10 years, and I hope it goes on for a lifetime.
Now you actually own your own business.
Yeah, after he worked as a mechanic for that shop for a while, the owner actually had to move out of town for some family business, and he sold the shop to my brother, and I was getting my degree in college at that time, and we started kind of working together, and it's been tough because there's been some recession here, but we've expanded the business into export, and right now we're doing great.
Cool. So that's Rocco 4x4, right?
Yes, we are located in Miami.
Very cool. So what's one of your favorite off-road experiences?
Well, every off-road experience is unique, but doing export has allowed me to go to events internationally. And I participated in an event called the Transylvania Trophy, and it's in a very small country in Europe called Romania. And we actually landed in Germany, and I got to drive a Toyota all the way through Austria and get to Romania. And once we got there, I saw people from France, from England, from Belgium, from Germany. And it's funny because you see guys screaming at each other like, driver, passenger, like all these different, languages all across the board, and everybody's helping each other out. And I call it the language of off-road. And you'll see it, like, when a car's stuck in a place and it needs to get winched out, you guys will communicate no matter what language you're actually speaking. But, you'll get the message across, and you'll get the vehicle to the next challenge. And it was pretty fun also to see how the American off-roading culture affects everywhere else in the world. Like, everybody wants to build their rig like a King of the Hammers rig. Everybody knows Shannon Campbell, and it's pretty amazing how we don't know it, but we shape as a country what everybody else does around the world.
Very cool. Very cool. I love it. So of the 3 events that we have, which one caught your eye and why?
Well, that's probably the toughest question. I mean, the 3 events are amazing. I have actually know a couple of people that have done Rally Venture, but I have to admit that the Rebel Rally is the one that really I have my heart set on that one. Let's put it that way. I love camping, but I rarely have an opportunity to take time off of work to do so. And this is like a 7-day adventure, and I feel like it encompasses everything that I love about being outdoors. And I think it's a lifetime opportunity, and I hope that I get to join you, and if I don't, I think I will plan on going next year because I had never heard of it before your challenge, and the more I look into it and the more I learn about it, the more I just want to go.
Yeah, it should be an awesome time. So what do you bring to the team?
Well, I think that one of the biggest skills that I have is whenever there's a problem, I try to focus on the positive side and on the options that are available. Having a small business and having a toddler, a 2-year-old boy, has taught me to really gauge risk from whether it is making an investment in inventory, whether you don't know if that product is going to sell well, or hiring a new person, or even, when there's an accident at the shop, if somebody gets hurt, really being quick on your feet and making decisions in time-sensitive situations. It's one of the biggest assets I have. It's what I would bring to the table. I think not a lot of people have that.
What's one of the coolest parts about being part of the off-road industry that you see?
Well, I think it's the people. I think that people like you that go out of their way to involve others into getting involved and being around people that love the automotive parts is what makes it such a great industry. I've met people from all over the world, and you kind of have that same personality, and you kind of click with each other right away. we're different than anybody else.
I love it. I love it and totally agree. Okay, last question. If you could only pack one of these two items, which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Oh, I would say, wow, I would say duct tape because I think you can probably get away with doing more with duct tape than zip ties.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Rebeca.
No problem. Talk to you later.
We got Heather Swigart on the line from Camp Verde, Arizona. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Good. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
I was born into it. My dad did it all my life, and as a younger child, and we ended up going into the off-roading and sand dunes in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent my teenage years there, and that's kind of where I met my late husband. And then he got into off-roading himself, and I was always there to help him and support him. And
okay, so and you guys raced or just did off-road?
He did the off-road racing for Dirt Riot, and we also owned a Jeep, and we did off-roading all around northern Arizona. And he always drove everywhere because that's how he was, and I was always in the passenger seat, navigating, telling him where to go and how to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now you're driving?
Now I am driving now that he is no longer with us. So now I've taken the driver's position, and I've gone all over northern Arizona in our Jeep, and I've had quite a few guys that are just floored at where I take our Jeep. But
awesome.
I know it can get there, and I know I can do it.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So what's one of your favorite off-roading experiences?
My favorite off-roading experience has been the family in the off-roading industry. When my husband was in ICU, they all rallied around us and were there to support us, and anything that we needed, they were there within a moment's notice. Since he's passed, they've been there no matter what we need, they're always there. And I know if I ever needed anything, I could give any one of them a call and they would be there.
Yeah, we have a pretty awesome off-road family, isn't it?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with the 3 events on the docket, which one caught your eye and why?
The first one, I think it's the Rally Victor.
Uh-huh.
That one caught my eye the most just because of location-wise. It's a little bit closer to Arizona, and with me being a single mom and being far away from my kids, it's a little hard. But I'm excited for the adventure and all the different abilities to learn new things while I'm up there. And
very cool. Well, what do you think you can bring to the team?
I'm a quick learner. I'm very organized, detail-oriented. If you need help on anything, I'm usually there to help no matter what. I'll jump in and help.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there a major event that's kind of molded you into the person that you are today, or a challenge?
Yes, there is. My husband passed away almost 2 years ago now, and I was 25 and had 2 young kids. I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And we're basically learning how to survive day to day without him being there, and to support me and to support my girls, and showing them that you can continue on and you can still live your life.
And you haven't stopped. Like, you've been going to the dunes, and you've been taking the girls places and towing your truck and trailer and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, last question. If you only had one of these 2 items to pack, which one would you pack? Zip ties or duct tape?
Zip ties.
Why?
It's no matter where we go. That's something that my husband carried as a staple. In fact, I don't even think we have duct tape.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Heather. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have Martha Tansy from Wasilla, Alaska on the phone. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good, thank you. So, how did you get into off-roading?
Started out, in Alaska, riding dirt bikes and four-wheelers. Then once I became legal to drive, got into trucks and taking trucks out and breaking them. And so then I started learning how to fix them in order to get home, And so I started working with a couple shops in the area on how to build them, and started taking classes in high school, and then started going to college to also learn how to fix them and build them. I got associates in automotive and diesel. Then I got into the military, which was a great opportunity to take those skills and use them for recovery, which is the main thing I did, is mechanics and recovery. Did that for about 5 years, loved it. Yeah. Then I got into hunting about 5 years ago, because I already had that skill set for being out in the woods and wheeling, fixing stuff. So just adding on the extra, how to field dress an animal was pretty easy. And so did that, and I've been loving it. And I have a 7-year-old daughter. We go out wheeling every weekend we can, and so that's kind of how I got from childhood to here.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Like, such an awesome place to be able to play too. So what is one of your favorite off-road experiences that you've had?
I've had a couple different types, so that's kind of a hard question. In Alaska, my favorite is getting to hunt, because not only am I having to go off-road, but I'm having the challenge of finding animals, shooting animals, field dressing, getting a vehicle from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain, wherever the animal is. It's a very hard challenge because there's no trails to them, and so logistically it pushes me to think outside of, okay, I'm just going on a day run, I'm on this trail, I'm going to make it back by dinner. It's, I hope I can make it to that animal, because if I don't, it's going to sour. Get it cut up and get an extra 1,000 pounds up on my rig and try to still wheel it out of there.
Very
pretty
cool.
Challenging, and I like that part.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have 3 events on the docket, right? Which one caught your eye and why?
Well, the first one that caught my eye was the rally venture, because it sounded like something to be up my alley. It's got multiple different parts to it. Not only do you have to, know wheeling and navigation, but you have to know how to shoot and winch. And so I was like, wow, all the skills that I have can be used in that, event. I mean, this is perfect. This is great for me. And then I was talking to a few other people about the rally venture race and how that is so similar to the 36-hour of Yori.
Yep, you
right?
got it. Yep, nice job.
Those two are super similar with that whole concept of the stations. And so once I learned more about the events, those two seem to be up my alley. Logistically and time-wise, I am down in the Lower 48 right now going to races. So the Valley venture would be the best for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what would you bring to our team?
Like I kind of just mentioned, my background in the military kind of gave me some skills that would help in these events. I went to recovery school to learn how to operate a wrecker and also how to recover vehicles. So self-recovering is something that I did for employment. So that right there, they teach us navigation skills in the military, marksmanship skills. Then there's also the other part of my personality where I do not give up. I will try my hardest. I will do whatever it takes to accomplish the mission. So having that, and then also having the skill set that aligns with these events, I think would make me a good fit for it.
Awesome. And you help with an event in Alaska, right?
I've helped with the Alaska 4x4 meet and greet for the last 4 years. It's a great event to show people that maybe might be new to off-roading or new to Alaska. We even host people that are from down the States and kind of want to see what Alaska's all about off-roading. we even invite those people also. It's a weekend event over Father's Day, and we have a course that we set up, and also a course with mud pits and frame twister and tires and rocks and logs. So people can bring their vehicles and kind of, go over it, test it out. It's a great place. I like bringing new vehicles that I've just built and kind of seeing how they do in a really easy to get to location and get to test it in all different ways.
Awesome. Well, if you could pack one item out of these two, which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
I'm kind of a zip tie snob. I do like my zip ties. But I have been using a lot of duct tape. I've been on the road for a long time now. Awesome. I would have to say duct tape because it can kind of be used in all sorts of different ways. Zip ties are handy, but they have their limitations also.
Awesome, Martha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlene, and after going to lots of events, I found something missing. Cute girl shirts that actually fit. I said, we can fix that, and now I design a new shirt every other month for the tough girl that wants to tell the world, I'm not just a girl. Available in extra small to 4XL, you can choose between high-quality tanks, tees, or sweatshirts, and we have a whole line of jewelry and gifts as well. Visit I'mNotJustAGirl.com to see all the designs and size charts. Available direct through Etsy, OpenSky, and Amazon, or at multiple events across the country. So we have Lisa Carter from Ojai, California on the phone. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome. So how did you get into off-roading?
Well, actually I fell into off-roading. I was in a car accident a couple years ago, and I was pretty scared to drive after that. I ended up getting a Ford truck, and before I wanted to excursion out into the Sierras, I had a friend recommend that I take a four-wheel class, and it's there that I kind of got hooked. Going over mountains, going over trails I could never, ever imagine doing. Got over my fear, and I've been on the run since. That's when I decided to buy a Jeep.
Oh, cool. Okay. So what's one of the most interesting or most fun experiences that you've had off-road?
Well, I've had a million of them since a short time, since June of 2015 when I got my Jeep. But I have to tell you that I've been very fortunate to have been involved in a lot of women's groups. I was invited to an AEV sand dune and winching class. It was hosted by the Adventure Portal, and it was led by Chris Woods. So I jumped on that opportunity. And I have friends in my area, but I met women from every other state in the United States that came to this event. And it was just life-changing for me, getting to meet all these like-minded women, working together as a team. We had a blast. That was probably the best trip I've ever had.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, well, with the 3 events that we have going on here, which one caught your eye and why?
That Rebel Rally, that is on my mind. One of the things I really love to do is I love to escape in my Jeep. I work a high-pressure job. So to get in my Jeep and get out away, no internet, no phones, out in the middle of nowhere, and enjoy the planet is just my therapy. So that 10-day excursion, with map and compass, finding our way, going through what people don't do anymore. They always use GPS. Well, going through it the old-fashioned way with a compass and a map, to me, just seems like the biggest adventure. And at the end, when you complete it, I mean, how uplifting is that you were able to do something without today's technology?
Yeah, right. And it's a little scary, a little sketchy, but it should be fun, right?
Yeah, I'll talk about the ultimate getting lost. To me, it's like the best television show you could watch on TV, but you're getting to do it yourself.
Yeah, I love it. Well, what would you bring to the team?
Well, I think for me, with my life experience, definitely hardworking. I work a number of jobs, always have since I was 17, but I've really learned how to deal with pressure, keep calm under pressure. I like to look at things logically and fair. I like goal-orientated type competitions where there's an end goal. I like to see everyone succeed, but you do know that you are working for first. pretty resourceful when things break. I might not always know how to fix it, but there's always a way to fix it. And, you know, I'm a quick learn for most everything. And I think my can-do attitude is probably the strongest attribute.
Nice, nice. Well, what's the biggest thing that you've had to overcome?
For me, getting back into a vehicle after my car accident was really hard. The accident, you know, it really shook me up. And just getting near a car door to open the door took me a long time. So after, you know, a lot of therapy and drugs, it really got me back behind in the car. And then eventually I was able to get behind the wheel when I realized that, you know, I could be in control again because the accident I was in was someone else was doing. So it was really scary. But, you know, it's something you learn to overcome.
Yeah, yeah.
Life goes on.
What have you found has been the coolest part about being part of the off-road community?
The ladies in the community. I came into this blind as a bat. I had no experience. I had a little bit of four-wheel drive experience from living in Northern California, but not like this. So as I researched and planned what I wanted, I found a lot of women drivers telling me what they do, why they do it, what to think about, and I took a lot of that as very good advice. Because everyone has a different end goal. For me, it's overlanding and long excursions out in the middle of nowhere for days. That's my kind of happiness. So as I'm learning and building all this, I'm finding that there's a lot of ladies out there. Yep. Although the tribe's not too big, it's bigger than we think. And finding everyone and listening to their stories and how they got into it and what they're doing is really what motivates me to keep going and doing this.
I love it, and absolutely agree with you. And what a great group this entire group has been as well. Like, super fortunate. Yeah, super fortunate. Okay, so you can only pick one of these two things to pack. Which one would you pick?
Okay.
Duct tape or zip ties?
Zip ties.
Zip ties your choice, huh?
Yep.
All right. Well, and thank you so much for joining us, Lisa.
All right, thank you so much.
Well, we have Ashlie Cardillo from Las Vegas, Nevada on the phone. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you.
Good. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Not really one specific incident or event. I pretty much grew up in the mountains. We always had snow plows on our vehicles and studded tires, and it kind of just progressed from there. Grew up snowboarding and kind of doing all those outdoor things. So it was always just a necessity, and then it kind of turned into fun.
Nice. Well, what kind of fun do you have now? What kind of Jeep do you have?
I have a 2008 Wrangler JK. I live out here in Vegas, like you said, so we do a lot of desert stuff. It's a whole new thing from growing up in mud and snow. Now it's rock crawling and having to go slower and really control the speed, which is my issue. And you break a lot more things. So it definitely is a lot more expensive, a lot more time under the Jeep than when I grew up in the snow and mud. But it's still a lot of fun. We also do a lot of camping out here at the lake, so that's probably one of my favorite things to do with the Jeeps.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. Well, tell us, what's one of your favorite off-road experiences that you've had?
Outdoor experiences, I'd say since I bought my Jeep, I've met absolutely the most amazing people out here in Vegas. I have what we call my Jeep fam, and been hanging out with them since the beginning. And I'd have to say my favorite time with them, we went camping up at Capitol Reef in Utah, just north of Moab, and it was just the coolest experience, the camaraderie. We had our dogs. It was 26 degrees, tent camping. We had a tent blow up on us with a propane leak. It was awesome. The scenery, the friends. It was quite a story. And someone came back with one less eyebrow and a lot less mustache.
Those are always the good stories.
Oh, it was, and he'll never live that one down.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, so with the docket of 3 events that we have on our list, which one caught your eye and why?
Definitely the Rebel Rally was the one that I first saw. And I saw that before I even found out about the contest and got really excited about it. I grew up in California and backpacked and camped that area, and just the chance to do a race that involved maps and doing all those things that I grew up with and loved, and then absolutely no technology, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you bring to the team?
Well, I'm lots of fun and I'm energetic, and on road trips I can definitely keep people awake, and I like to drive as well. And then at the same time, like I said, I grew up camping. I know the outdoors really well, so, I don't mind sleeping on the ground outside under the stars. I also don't mind getting under the Jeep and fixing things and getting dirty. I'm pretty much up for anything.
Cool. What's something that has molded you into the person that you are today?
I'd say probably the major thing was my dad passing. About 11 years ago, he passed of pancreatic cancer, and it was kind of out of the blue because he was super healthy, super outdoorsy. He went fishing and camping, and he just was all about being outside and living your life. And he died at 58, and, it was one of those things that just hit everybody because he was that guy that nobody ever thought would die that early.
Sure.
And so it just kind of showed me that you got to live your life and not sit behind a desk all day and take some chances and do adventures and be spontaneous and just live and enjoy. And if you make, a wrong decision or something, then, oh, well, there's more choices and more chances to live.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I love that.
Yeah.
What's one of the coolest parts of the off-road community that you found?
I have to say, literally, the camaraderie, the Jeep community, I don't know if it's as strong everywhere as it is here in Vegas, but I have been broken down 100 miles from Vegas and literally had 5 different people within 5 minutes say, we'll come get you, stay there. On Father's Day, a couple of my friends got stuck in kind of a bad situation in the heat, and it was like people dropped their Father's Day, brunches and plans, and everybody ran out to help them. We actually have kind of hotlines for when people need repairs, get stuck, anything happens bad, and we all get together and help. And it's all walks of life. We have people in our group that are 18 and people that are 75, and we all get along and just laugh and have fun together. So
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right, last question. If you could only pack one of these 2 things, which one would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Ooh. I'm going to go with duct tape, only because you can twine it up and make it cordage like a zip tie.
Hey, there you go.
And you can't stick anything with a zip tie.
Awesome, Ashlie. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We have Marcie Hricziscse from Goodyear, Arizona. How are you tonight?
I'm doing wonderful, Charlene. Thanks.
Awesome. So how did you get into off-roading?
Well, I grew up in a family that loved the outdoors, and my parents made sure we were always out there hunting, camping, fishing. They took us off-roading all the time. I remember doing it in our old 3-door Suburban. And then I later married a husband who had the same passion as I did. So my love of doing things in the dirt just grew and grew and grew.
Awesome. Now, are you always co-driving or do you drive?
I drive once in a while when he gives up the seat. Usually it's kind of an argument between us, but, that's okay.
Yeah, I understand. So tell us about your favorite off-road experience. What's one you always talk about?
One of my favorite off-road experiences was a trip that we took with a couple of friends and just my husband and I and our daughter. And it was just a simple trip wheeling from Lake Pleasant up to Crown King here in Arizona. And it was my daughter's first, she'd been out wheeling and done things before, but it was her first overnight wheeling trip. So it was kind of a super cool experience just to have her out there doing the things that her dad and I love and getting her to experience that and love it too.
Awesome. I love it. And you guys adopted her, right? Is that true?
We did. We adopted our daughter. Yes.
Nice. I think that's awesome because that just extends the family, right?
Yes, it's been wonderful. People say, adopting children in these homes is great, but honestly, we were the ones that were really blessed by her, so it was awesome.
I love it. All right, so we have these 3 events on the list. Which one caught your eye the most and why?
The Rebelle Rally actually caught my eye first, just because I grew up with a dad who, really, like I said, loved being outdoors, and he always wanted us girls to be really equipped and enabled, and so he
always taught us to pay attention to our surroundings and how to use a map and how to know where we were at and not be stuck or stranded. And so he gets frustrated nowadays sometimes with all the electronic gizmos that everyone relies on. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity to put some of what he taught me to use and just make him really, really proud with what I could accomplish out there.
Cool. What would you bring to the team?
Well, I am super organized. I'm really good at just jumping in and getting my hands dirty. And I, have a habit of just kind of feeling comfortable around people. So one of the things I love to do is just kind of jump in as if I'm right at home. And I think that helps ease the tension and just helps everybody kind of meld together as a team and just work smoothly.
What's kind of molded you into the person that you become today?
Honestly, I don't think it's any one particular thing. I think my parents gave me a great start by giving me a loving, supportive base foundation that they started for me, and it's just continued to build from there. And I think that life itself has just been what has been my teacher. It's the good, the bad, the challenges, the ups, the downs. Everything combined is all had a part to play in who I am today. Nice. And what do you love the most about the off-road community? I love the sense of camaraderie and family. You know what I mean? It's not, it's not. You're not out there by yourself. And when you are out there, I've met some of my very best friends out on a trail with a hood up, and they stopped to see if we needed help or vice versa. And that's my favorite thing. Nice. I agree. It's so fun to meet people on the side of the road, isn't it? And all of a sudden they become lifelong friends. Yes. And like I said, I have a handful of them that, I would never give up. And that's exactly how we started. Awesome. Okay, so last question. Kind of fun. If you could only pack one of these two things, which one would you pack? Zip ties or duct tape? Ooh, duct tape. Duct tape. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marcie. Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. We have Rileigh Augustine from Fort St. John, British Columbia, Canada. How exciting. How are you today?
I am absolutely kicking ass today, and how are you?
Awesome. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, my family, I grew up on a farm, and I always had dirt bikes and quads and stuff kicking around as I was growing up. And I learned to drive on my grandpa's tracker out in the back roads, and I decided that I need something that took me places that vehicle did. So I bought my first Jeep. It was a 83 CJ7. Nice. And now you work on them quite a bit, right? I do, yeah. I am the female representative of TNT, our 4x4 club up north, and I frequently work on my own as well as lots of vehicles in the club, and I'm also a mechanic for Chrysler.
Oh, really? So you're a mechanic by trade?
Yeah, you betcha.
Awesome. Well, tell us, what's one of your more favorite off-road experiences that you've had?
Definitely the Easter Jeep Safari that I was just at, the 50th anniversary there.
Nice.
My favorite trail was Hell's Revenge, and it was all sweaty palms at the bottom of the trail. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, and came out, fists out the window, so it was pretty amazing.
Is that like just the best feeling, like when you get to the top and you're like, yes, I did it?
Like literally sweaty palms. Like I was shaking sitting in the driver's seat. It's like, hey, full responsibility in my spotter. Here we go. All I see is sky. Right on.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the fun pieces of doing the back door for me. And it doesn't ever get old either. Like you get to the top and you're still screaming. You're like, yeah.
Exactly. It's the biggest rush you can get at 5 kilometers an hour or less.
I love it. Okay, so we have 3 events on the list. Which one caught your eye and why?
The 36-hour URI challenge actually got my eye the most. I like the idea of how diverse it is. I can really use my creativity as a mechanic and as an off-roader to help with those style of events. And growing up on a farm, I'm very familiar with being around guns and skeet shooting and that. So I think that I could be the best asset on the 36-hour URI challenge.
Cool. Well, what else do you feel like you can bring to our team?
Well, I'm I've got a pretty good sense of humor. I think I can ease people out of stressful situations that way. I also used to work on, I was an oil field worker for a while. I was a manager at a truck shop. I'm very used to being on call, up and alert, and working for many hours on end. I understand that shit happens. I deal with it every day at my work, and I'm good at keeping my cool and keeping focused. My mental and physical stamina is through the roof, and yeah.
Yeah, that definitely would have a great play. Well, what's something that maybe you've had a challenge that you've had to overcome? Tell us about it.
Well, I decided to throw myself into the Tough Mudder Challenge in Whistler in 2012. It's a 13.5-mile obstacle course designed by the British Special Forces. I've never been a runner of any kind. I just decided to do it to challenge myself.
Sure.
And just the whole intent is just to finish the obstacle course. It's not a timed event by any means, and it was the best, crappiest tasting beer at the finish line I've ever had.
So there was one of those at Bantam last year, or similar to, and we were watching them because they were using the obstacle course that we were using at the same time, right? And like half of them finished without their shoes. Like their shoes were still left in the mud.
Just stuck. Yeah, there's a big pile at the end of the obstacle where people were just throwing their shoes because there was no way they were bringing those back.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do you feel is one of the best parts of being part of the off-road community?
Being part of the off-road community, well, it really helps with my job. I have a lot of people coming into Chrysler specifically asking me to work on their vehicles. And it's just, I love it. I love the lifestyle. I bring my work home with me. When I'm not pulling wrenches at work, I'm doing it either on my vehicle or somebody else's. At the end of the day, I'm pulling wrenches from anywhere from 8 to 16 hours a day just because it's what I love to do.
I love it. I love it. All right. You can only pick one of these two things to pack. Which one would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Ooh. Ooh. There's huge advantages to both. How much duct tape?
A whole roll. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a bunch of zip ties.
Zip ties. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, Rileigh.
You betcha. Thank you very much for having me.
I have Samantha Hopko from MS Pennsylvania on the phone. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Pretty much started with my brother. He got into it in the early 2000s, and I watched him build a two-door Jeep from just basically stock, and then years went on, and I actually ended up buying my own from a friend of his, and now I'm wheeling with him when we go out together. It's fun.
Really cool. So you have your own Jeep and you go out wheeling and doing all these fun things?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, tell us what's been one of your favorite off-road experiences.
I can't really pick one because they're all awesome and it's such a great time, but I just love going out with everyone and meeting new people and getting different trails and getting to know everyone that we hang out with.
Yeah. Now, I saw you at Bantam last year, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You may not remember.
Oh, really?
But I saw you going in circles. So what did you guys do out there? What do you do out there?
We basically just stand on the playground. We'll spot people over certain obstacles. My brother usually does the harder rock obstacle in the middle, and then I'll kind of wander around on the other ones. But we just volunteer, hang out for the day, chat with people.
Awesome. Awesome. So there's 3 different events that we have lined up. Which one caught your eye the most and why?
I would say the Rebel. I think I'm saying it correct.
Yep. Uh-huh.
That one definitely caught my eye because it's something I've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty cool that it's more than a 2-day event. It's longer. And you have no cell phone, no GPS or anything. You basically have to just use like your sensor direction and map.
Yep.
I think that one
So it excites you not to have a cell phone for a week because it pretty much puts me in a panic. That's awesome. Well, what can you bring to the team with you?
I'm hard-driven to my goals that I set for myself. I'm energetic. I like to meet new people. I like to get, stay focused. I am very good at navigation with maps and everything. Lots of common sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, actually. What's a big challenge maybe that you've had to overcome?
I lost my parents in the early 2000s, and that was definitely something hard to get over and move on and find things that would help you drive to, keep yourself sane.
Yeah, that had to be super challenging. But you found wheeling out of it, right? Or did that happen before?
No, it definitely was before.
Cool. Well, last question, pretty simple. If you could only pack one of these two things, which would you choose? Zip ties or duct tape?
Duct tape. Duct tape fixes everything.
I love it. Well, thank you, Samantha. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
We have Kristie Moore from Clay, New York. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, when I originally started racing quads in the hare scrambles, because I'm older, it's very physically demanding, I figured I might need to look to other avenues to be able to stay out in the woods and be out in the mud and, rock crawling and things like that. So I went out and bought a Jeep.
Cool. So you do hare scrambles and you do...
Yep, I race competitively in a women's series on a quad and a four-wheeler. I do the hare scrambles with Winoa.
Oh, well, that's awesome just in itself. So then you got a Jeep, and what happened?
Well, I got a little addicted to that, and I am currently now doing both, which luckily enough, they're very complementary. A lot of people I race with, because it's off-road and outdoors, also own Jeeps or other four-wheel drive vehicles.
Sure.
So that just immediately opened up other avenues to go out and have adventures.
Very cool. Well, tell us, what's one of your favorite off-road experiences that you've had?
It has to be Martinsburg, New York. I went out with a local group. I had just joined them, Twisted Axles, and my husband couldn't make it to the trail ride, so I decided I was going to trailer the Jeep, which I cannot back up, and go forward on my own, come hell or high water, so I was just going to go for it.
Yeah.
So I did that on my own, and trailered. It was a couple hours outside of New York, and one of the guys, his Jeep had broken, and they didn't know anybody, and he, I offered to let him ride with me, and it turns out that he was, really good in instructing, and I went out there, was the only girl, and those guys just took me completely under their wing, told me that if I didn't try, I didn't learn, and were totally supportive, and it just really built up my confidence, and I just felt like I could do anything after that.
Oh, that's awesome. What a cool group.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. I owe a lot to them, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, so we have these 3 events on our list, right? Which one caught your eye and why?
Originally, it was the rally venture, because I'm interested in learning more about the navigation. But then the more I read about it, it's really the 36-hour of Uwharrie. I've done a lot of those things. I'm not a professional by any manner, but I just saw that it was a little bit under pressure, and then I got thinking that it would be even more challenging. And the more challenging for me, I get a bigger reward out of that, more retention, I can bring it forward and help other people with it. So I looked at it as really more of a challenge.
Interesting. So what can you bring to our team?
Well, I'm super outgoing. I really love to be active and to be outdoors, and I love learning new things, especially from people that have done them before, like being mentored. And I'm a really quick learner. I've been off-roading now for a couple of years. I'm used to being out in the elements. I don't mind camping and getting dirty and, listening to directions, following directions, and paying attention to the details, and learning the other skills that I might need to go and conquer those rallies.
Cool. Is there something that has molded you to be who you are today?
Yes, I think it was being a young parent. I had my son at 19, which forced me to grow up a little bit earlier, and I will be 48 this year. So when I was 19, I was pretty much 40, and now it's my time to be 19. So, I just kept moving along. I grew up really fast. I'm like, just got to do the things I got to do to survive, and now it's time to live. And so I'm just I'm learning from the teenagers right now,
I love that analogy. That's awesome.
Yep, how to do all the fun things.
Very cool. What's one of the neat parts about being part of the off-road community, in your eyes?
It's the people, it's the support. One of the things that challenge us in this area is trying to get the girls off-roading because they're intimidated. And once I went out there and I realized everybody gets stuck, everybody breaks down, everybody helps everybody else, they all laugh it off, it's part of the game. I just was I just adored that. I just adored that really there was not the pressure that people thought there was.
Yeah.
It was a community. You don't go out wheeling alone, so it's not like you're out there alone, and at any time everybody is helping everybody else.
Awesome. Okay, you can only pick one of these two things to pack. Which one would you pack? Duct tape or zip ties?
Duct tape.
Awesome. Kristie, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Thanks, Charlene.
We have Angie Dow from Springfield, Oregon on the phone. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. And so how did you get into off-roading?
My husband and myself, our two friends, jumped in a Toyota Camry. I think it was back in 1999, and the boys decided we should try this place called Moab, and we adventured there and rented Jeeps, and it's all history from there. It was like a disease that they caught, brought home, spread among their friends, and that's how it happened.
So you went in a little car, and you came back in ready to buy a Jeep or something, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Within weeks, he had a Jeep.
Really? And now what are you guys wheeling?
We have a custom-built buggy that my husband made that is awesome. He took, some stuff he had off of his previous Jeep that he had stretched, but now it's a buggy. LS motor, turboed, all sorts of good stuff.
All the good stuff, right on. Well, what's one of your favorite off-road experiences?
There's been so many, but most recently we just went to Moab.
Mm-hmm.
And during our time in Moab, I actually drove during the Crawl Reader's Ride and did Eldorado, and that's fun. I had done it a couple days prior for the first time. And then I did it again during the Reader's Ride and drove the waterfall again and made it first time unassisted. It was great.
Oh, I know. I was there. It was so cool. Yep, I just decided I was just going to shoot the fall on Upper Eldorado, and here comes this girl. And I'm like, right on, that's super cool. And then she owned it, and I'm like, oh, that's even cooler.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It's one of those feelings you don't get used to sitting at that angle.
Yeah.
But when you get up, it's like this huge rush.
Yeah, it's even more fun when you take people up that have never done it before.
I can only imagine.
They're like, what? Okay, so we have a list of 3 events. Which one caught your eye and why?
Rally Venture sounds super fun. It's got a little about all the elements. I mean, so do the 36 hours of Unwary. Like, you have the shooting, you have all the different elements that you look for that keep wheeling fun are in these events.
True. Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that you're going from like a 24-hour to a 36-hour type event where you're doing these constantly is super exciting.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you on your toes.
Right.
What would you bring to the team?
I think I have a unique personality where I can take any situation, even if it's stressful, and make it fun and make it enjoyable. Like, there's always a silver lining somewhere, even when there's a flat tire or a shock burst. Like, you never know what's going to happen. There's always a way to find something to bring it back and get focused on the task but have fun at the same time. And so I think staying positive and looking for the light at the end of the tunnel is probably one of those personality characteristics that I have that's pretty strong.
Awesome. I love it. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome?
I think one of those life-changing experiences when my granddad passed away, and it was before my husband and I were married, and he just was one of those people that was so influential in my life, and he was a friend to everyone, and he just lived life so genuinely, but so out loud that I want to mirror him and make him proud. And so I've definitely tried to, pass on to my kids things that he taught me, but also live a life that he'd be proud of.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what's one of the parts of being part of the off-road community that you appreciate or like?
The off-road community it offers so much as far as the friends you make on the trail. We have friends that we specifically now meet in Moab that, they lived in North Carolina and they moved to Idaho, but we meet up in Moab every year and now we camp together.
Nice.
And I would consider them extended family. There's those kind of relationships you build, but then the country that you get to see is breathtaking, and not everyone gets to see that. And so I think between those two aspects, that's truly, and just time spent with family off the grid, no cell phones, those things are what mean the most to me.
I love it. So true. So true, except for 10 days. I'm a little stressed out about that. All right, so you can pack only one of these two things. Which would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Oh, those are my two staples.
Just one. Which one?
I would go zip ties.
All right. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Angie.
No problem.
We have Kalee Hunter from Tucson, Arizona with us. How are you doing today?
Good, good.
Good. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
So while I was in college, I bought a Jeep, and then I realized that I really had no idea what I was doing with this Jeep. I had no idea about cars. And so I got on the internet, I Googled, and I found that my university had an off-road club. So I joined it, and the rest is history. Now I'm the president of the off-road club.
And you're graduating.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
So tell us about your Jeep.
So I have a 2005 Jeep Wrangler. Her name is Frankie. She's green. I decided to name her Frankie because Frankenstein's green, and she also has a window that is torn that I have sewn up, so it looks like Frankenstein's scar. So she's really basic. She's unlocked, and I like to take her everywhere.
Cool. Well, tell us about one of your favorite off-road experiences.
My favorite off-road experience, I can't really pick between two, so I narrowed it down to two. So one of them would be Glamis, California.
Yeah.
Of course, the sand dunes. They're a whole nother beast. You can't really describe them to people. They just have to go.
Yep.
And then I think my second favorite place to go is Aravaipa Canyon down here in southern Arizona. It's beautiful. It's a day-long trail, and then I really enjoy at night. We sit down and we camp, and we sit around the campfire and get to enjoy each other.
Love it. Love it. I'm a Glamis girl myself. Awesome. So with these three events on the list, which one caught your eye and why?
Oh, I think the one that caught my eye the most was 36 hours race. I had to Google all the events to decide before I wanted to let you know, and that one just sounded really fun with all the mini events, like the canoeing and the winching, and there was like a mud event, I think, too. I was a camp counselor, and we got to do all those events with all the kids and stuff, and they're just something that are close to my heart.
And now we have a vehicle in the mix of it.
Yeah, it's like adding everything I love to do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, what could you add to our team?
You know, I thought about this question a lot, and I just felt like I'd add some entertainment and comedic relief because I can't say that I'm very mechanically inclined or anything, but, I mean, on a serious note, I do just love to learn. I'm like a sponge. I would just sit there, and I'd love to listen to you and learn everything that you do. I'm really interested in the business aspect of it, too. I'm just excited to be there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, what's a major event or challenge that's kind of molded you to who you are today?
I think something that makes me special and has molded me is that when I was a baby, my parents, they got divorced, and so I've grown up with two loving families, and I think that it's just made me a better person. I enjoy having two families to go visit for holidays, and I know what it's like to have a bunch of different personalities, and I get along with everyone, and I don't like to judge people based on other people's opinions because I think you should make your own opinions about people. So I think that all comes from being loved by so many different kinds of people my whole life. So,
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what do you find is most unique about the off-road community?
I think that my favorite part about the off-road community is the people. Like, I'm studying agriculture at the university, and I chose that as a major because I just really enjoyed people. I like all the farmers. They're all very down to earth. I love the blue-collar worker.
Yeah.
And I think that all has to do with off-roading, too. Those are the people you meet out there. They are very down to earth, and they want to sit there and talk to you and learn about you.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you can only pick one of these two items to pack. Which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Oh, zip ties, 100%. Yeah. I can't even describe how many things are zip tied on my Jeep.
Awesome, Kaleigh. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Hey, guys, let's load up.
I love my small town world. I love a country girl. I love a Friday night. Man, I love this life. Sound of an old dirt road rolling through my mind. Man, I love this life.
Well, we have Kaleigh Hotchkiss from Tucson, Arizona. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. So how did you get into off-roading?
My sister actually got into it before me. She's a little bit older than me, and she was in a club at the U of A that's a sister club to the Wildcat Off-Road Club, and I started hanging out with her and her friends, and we both kind of got hooked, and we went to a lot of events, and it was a lot of fun, and so I decided it was time for me to buy my own Jeep.
So you got your own?
Yes.
Cool. And now what do you do?
The weekends that I can, I take my Jeep out and do wheeling with the club or with other people, and then I'm also co-driving for Dirt Riot with my boyfriend Ryan, and so we do several races during the year all over the country.
Nice. That's a fun series. Mm-hmm. So tell us, what's one of your favorite off-road experiences that you've had?
This one took a long time for me to think about because I have so many favorites, so I decided maybe we could talk about my most influential trip, which was the very first trip I took my Jeep on.
Oh, perfect.
It was just a few days after I had bought it, and so I really hadn't had time to check it over or anything. Just check the fluids and the tires, and that was about it. And we went out on a two-day kind of wheeling camping trip in Aravaipa Canyon. And I just remember kind of driving along. I was by myself. I had my dog. I was with a group, but I was by myself in the vehicle, and I just remember thinking, I can do this, you know. I don't need anybody. I can do this alone. Even though I'm a woman, or, I don't have a lot of experience mechanically, I can figure this out. And then ever since then, I've been a lot more confident with it.
Oh, I love it. That's great. What a great experience.
Yeah.
So you have 3 different options here of events that we had listed. Which one caught your eye the most and why?
Definitely the Rebel Rally. I actually had heard about it before your contest and was sort of heartbroken that I didn't think I was going to be able to afford to go. So when I saw that you were doing the contest, I obviously jumped on it. I'm really into things that are kind of the all-women aspect. I think that's really cool about it. And it's just a lot different. I mean, I wheel all the time with friends, and it's a lot different than anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
It'd be a totally new experience for me. And I like to learn, and so learning the navigational part would be really cool. And I'm also really kind of about disconnecting. I like going wheeling places where our phones don't work because I think it's cool when everyone sits around and actually talks to each other.
Right.
So that part of it was also kind of appealing.
Yeah, I don't know about 10 days, though. I'm having a little hard time with that.
Yeah, I already kind of had to warn my boss. I already requested the PTO just in case.
Yeah. So Awesome. Well, what do you bring to the team? What would you bring?
Obviously, I have a lot of experience off-roading, and so I do bring some, as far as co-driving, I do co-drive, so I have those skills and some mechanical skills. But in addition to that, I think I'm good at adapting to different personalities and figuring out kind of what you would need from me, whether that's more talking, less talking. And that's a lot of time to spend with someone, so I think it's important to have someone you could have fun with and who's going to be happy and positive throughout, and I think I would be good at that. And I'm really organized. I'm sort of a type A person, so I'd be great at kind of planning ahead and learning what we need to learn and getting everything organized, and throughout the event kind of keeping everything organized for you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, what is something that maybe you've had to overcome or is a big challenge that's molded who you are?
I have such a blessed life. I always hate kind of complaining or whatever, talking about challenges, because I feel like it's complaining compared to what other people go through. But a lot of it's just been career-oriented. My whole life's really been about my career.
Sure.
So the challenges I've experienced have been there. The job I'm in currently is kind of higher up in the management team at a hospital. And I got the job when I was really young. I was only 26, and so it was a big hurdle for me to get the confidence that I needed. I don't think people looked down at me because I was younger, but I felt that way. And I felt like, I don't have enough experience to do this. I don't have the skills. All these people are older than me. They're going to know I'm a fraud. So it took me a long time. It took me probably over a year to really be confident in what I was doing. But I kind of did the fake it till you make it during that time, and just, kept a straight face and kept my head up, and I think it worked. I'm still here, so.
And moved up, right? That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, what do you feel is one of the most special pieces of the off-road community?
I just think it's kind of cheesy, but it's like a family. I mean, you go to all these events, and everyone's happy to see you, and they're happy to help you, and especially the races. If you are missing a spare part that you need or you break, even the people that you're racing against will stop and help you. And I just think that says a lot compared to other sports or other events. It's competitive. Obviously, everybody wants to win, but everyone also wants everyone to have a good time.
Yeah.
Like the event, we were in Oklahoma this weekend for a race, and there were strangers coming up to me saying, "Oh, did you get to the next level? I voted for you." People I've never met, but because they're part of the Dirt Riot family, then they all kind of rallied around me, and that was really cool.
That's awesome. So you can only pick one of these two items to bring with us. Which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Zip ties. Definitely zip ties. There's so many zip ties on my Jeep.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Kaleigh.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
We have Kimrah Turner from Elizabeth City, North Carolina on the phone. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. Woo, I'm so excited.
So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
I got into off-roading probably about 2 years ago or so. I actually met my fiance, because now I'm happily engaged as of this weekend. I met him at a mud bog, and we ended up going rock crawling for our first date about 2 weeks later. And he rolled us down the mountain in the first 10 minutes in our trip, and I've been hooked ever since.
So he rolled you down the mountain, and you're still hanging around,
Yes.
huh?
I was hanging upside down in my harness, and I'm like, this is adrenaline. This is awesome.
So do you mostly co-drive, or do you drive too?
No, I actually have my own truck. I have a Toyota Trekker. It was originally modified by the Winnebago. It's a 1983. And we're currently building a buggy for me as well. It'll be a tubed buggy.
Cool. Very cool.
And I'm helping with the build on that, so that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to just get your hands dirty right in there with it and understand how it comes together, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Totally. Learning a lot, for sure.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so we have 3 events on our list. Which one caught your eye and why?
I would have to say Uwharrie, and I'd have to say because I'm used to the terrain there. I've been there a couple times. I love the view. It's always a fun time when we go there, and it's actually closer to my home, so I think it'd work out perfect.
Cool. What could you bring to our team?
I think I work calm under pressure, especially since I've been an emergency room nurse.
Oh, yeah, that's an awesome.
Yeah, I see crazy stuff all the time. So I think I'm accepting of constructive criticism. I take it as an opportunity to learn and build from. And I'm definitely outgoing, and I think I'm a go-getter, for sure.
Nice. Well, tell us about a challenge or something that you've had to overcome.
I unfortunately lost my dad this past October of 2014 in a horrible accident, but he was like my best friend and my rock. And I lost my mom the previous year before that. So I've had to learn to grow from that, and be independent and pick myself up off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And more than ever now, I'm learning that life is short and we only have one opportunity to do what we want to do and complete our bucket list. So.
Yeah, that's for sure, isn't it?
Yes, for sure.
What's something that you really appreciate about the off-road community?
I like the off-road community. I think the biggest thing I've noticed are not just the typical trucks, but a lot of them are very unique, and people build them from the ground up themselves and make them what they really want. And I've seen more than ever before more females that are out there driving, and I don't really think that a lot of people take notice to that.
I think more and more people are, though. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys do a lot of mud bogging and rock crawling, or vice versa, or which one precedence is the other?
We do rock crawling more than we do the mud bogging. I actually don't do mud bogging. My fiance races in them about once or twice a year. But the rock crawling we pretty much do every other weekend when the weather gets nice.
Cool. Well, if you were to pick one of these 2 items to put in the bag, which one would it be? Zip ties or duct tape?
Zip ties. We live off zip ties. My fiance actually wears zip ties as a belt, and I can't even believe that I just admitted that. I buy him belts, and he uses zip ties.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, congratulations on your recent engagement. I'm super excited for you, and thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We have Sarah Luker from Sicklerville, New Jersey on the phone. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yes, awesome. Well, so tell us first how you got into off-roading.
I grew up, my dad had an old 77 CJ that we took out wheeling in the mud all the time, and it was always a blast. And then about 5 years ago, my husband decided to buy a Jeep for some fun, and we got back into going out in the mud and playing, and then we started going up to Roush Creek and going on the rocks, and then I decided I had to have a Jeep of my own. And then from there, it's been nonstop ever since with all the events, and we've even founded a club with other friends in the area to get more people out and enjoying the sport with us.
Oh, really? What's your club name?
It's Garden State Jeeps.
Cool. So you guys go do a whole bunch of trails and events together, or?
Yeah, we like to go out to Roush Creek on our own, and then we also organize groups to take out to other people's events like Topless for Tatas and Built to Heal and big events in the area.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So what's one of your most favorite off-road experiences that you've had?
I think my favorite would be the first time we attended Topless for Tatas at Roush Creek. I always knew that the off-road community was really close and tight-knit, but to go to an event of that size and see how many people came together to support a great cause, it really was just amazing to see that all at one time.
Yeah. People are awesome, aren't they? Especially when you bring something like that together. Yeah. And I heard the trail ride is like super cool too that you guys go on for that event.
It is. Have you ever been to Roush?
Yes, I've been to Roush Creek, but not for Topless for Tatas.
It's definitely an experience you have to have.
Yeah, I agree. Chantel agrees too. So of the 3 events that are listed, which one caught your eye the most and why?
The Rebel Rally, the fact that it's just all women doing it, and it's such a long course, it looks like it would be really challenging and something totally like outside of anything I've ever tried before.
Yeah. You're in 10 days of no contact. Are you happy with that?
I'm sure my husband would have a hard time with the kids, but it would be great for me for a break.
I love it. So what else would you bring to the team?
I'm really energetic and eager to get in there and get my hands dirty. I'll try anything. I take instruction well. I mean, if I don't know how to do it, I'm glad for you to tell me how to do it, and I'll figure it out if we can. Just a lot of good energy.
Awesome. So what's a major event or something that's happened in your world that's molded you to who you are today?
It sounds really cliche, but I'd have to say it's having kids. I always thought I didn't want to have kids, so I could just get up and go whenever I wanted to. But since having my son and then now my daughter, it's amazing how much more fun you can have. Like when we go off-roading and we bring my son, it's just cool experiences you have, like raising a child and seeing how they grow.
Interesting. What's one of the neatest parts about being part of the off-road community in your eyes?
I think it's really awesome just the support you get from fellow off-roaders at any time. If you're ever out and, God forbid you have a problem with your vehicle, like anybody's always willing to just lend a hand and do anything they can to help you.
Awesome. So you can only pick one of these 2 items to pack in your bag. Which one would it be? Duct tape or zip ties?
Duct tape. Duct tape fixes everything.
I love it, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We have Jane Thurmond from Simi Valley, California on the line. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Charlene. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Well, tell us how you got into off-roading.
Oh, well, we've been big off-road motorcycle dirt people, well, for as long as I've known my husband, which is like 35 years. But, with the kids doing the motorcycles and so forth. And I got a little too old for my motorcycle, so it was a pre-runner truck. But we didn't, I don't think I do the classic off-roading, like the King of the Hammer stuff. We do a little bit more asphalt racing, road course, time attack, autocross. So I'm not, I'm new at off-road. It's a little bit new for me.
That's cool. So you've done a little bit off-road, but it's really not your main game. Asphalt's more your game.
That's correct. Yeah. I've been doing that for about 3 years, and I was not really very good at it to start, but I'm getting better, much better.
Normally I would ask what's your favorite off-road experience, but I'm just going to leave it as what's your favorite experience between off-road and asphalt? Like you can pick which one.
You know what? There was an event that the family did, and it was out at Johnson Valley, and I was more of an innocent bystander. But oh my gosh, I have to say, Jordan Pellegrino did take me for a ride in his incredible vehicle. So I have to say, as the passenger riding with Jordan, because I've known him since he was a little kid, that was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome.
So you must be talking about that little event called King of the Hammers?
Yeah, that little one.
Yeah. That's awesome.
This last time we were there for the week, so we actually participated in the Genrite pit doing race monitoring. I felt really, I loved it because I actually kind of had an idea of what I was supposed to do, with racing.
Very nice. I love it. Okay, so we have 3 events on the docket, right? Which one caught your eye and why?
Well, because I'm new at the whole idea of off-roading and I have my own race schedule, Rally Venture spoke to me. It's close. God, it looks like fun. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness. It looks like I can, challenge myself a little bit further. For instance, the blindfold challenge. Listen, one of my instructors had me do a blindfold challenge in autocross. And it's really interesting to be the passenger while your driver is blindfolded and they're supposed to go around the track.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that.
So but see, that I found to be really interesting. I thought that would be, wow, okay, so you only have to walk over and grab a cup?
Cool.
I can do that.
Cool.
There's no throttle on that.
So what would you bring to our team?
My charm, my wit. Honestly, I think what I have the ability to bring to the team, number one, I've always been the type of individual who likes to motivate and inspire and encourage. So I think primarily it would be my positive attitude, the kind of attitude that says, okay, here's our situation. Now, how are we going to attack this? We're going to solve the problem, and I'm going to get you from point A to point B, and we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll bring. But, I'm physically fit. So if there's a physical challenge, I'm up for it. And I think it's just an opportunity to, do something interesting and entertaining and different from the asphalt racing.
So what's a challenge that you've had to overcome?
One of the biggest challenges that I've overcome in my life, I think I mentioned this, I'm about 6 feet tall, a little over 6 feet tall.
Me too.
And so this world, so you understand, this world isn't necessarily built for women who are 6 feet tall. And it's built more for the 5'9" crowd. And, I don't want to look at it as something that wasn't a positive, because in the end it really became a positive for me. And I looked at it as, well, people are going to notice me. Let's give them something to notice. Let's be a person who is positive. But it didn't come without some hurt feelings, and it didn't come without some challenges. And I guess the bottom line is that the biggest challenge that I still struggle with every day is waking up and loving myself just as I am.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, well, we can only pack one of these two things. Which one would you grab? Duct tape or zip ties?
Ooh. I'd have to say, well, can it be Gorilla duct tape?
Sure.
It'd have to be duct tape, because there's a way that you can actually, manipulate your duct tape to make it work like a zip tie. So zip ties would be superfluous.
I love it.
So it's definitely duct tape. Gorilla tape. Black, please.
Great. Thank you so much, Jane.
Thank you so much, Charlene. It's amazing to be able to just kind of throw in with the incredible women that all went in on this. And thanks for doing what you're doing. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an awesome group. We're all very lucky. We have Amber Turner from San Ramon, California with us. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. So tell us, how did you get into off-roading?
Well, my dad had a Toyota pickup rock crawler that he built up, and then I met my husband, and when we first started dating, he had a Jeep. So my dad would help him with his Jeep, and I helped him with his Jeep, and we kind of built that up together. And then right after high school, I bought my Samurai. So my husband started building it for me, and in the last year, I've taken that over, and it's been a blast. I've really immersed myself in the whole culture and done off-roading, and I try to do as many trails in Northern California as I can, and I try to help out at events and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, that's basically how I got in.
Cool. So you have your own Samurai and you work on it? And
yeah, I do all the general maintenance right now. I'm starting to do a little bit more modifications. It's like there's kind of different stages of Samurais, and I'm kind of in stage 2 right now.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Well, tell us what might have been one of your favorite off-road experiences. What do you always talk about?
So my favorite off-road experience was last September for Cantina on the Con. Me and my dad in his Toyota rock crawler that I was just mentioning, and our friend in his Jeep did the Rubicon Trail. And it was kind of just on a whim. Like, we had gone to the event just expecting to kind of, you know, dip our feet in the trail a little bit, not really expecting to do the whole 12-mile thing. And I was like, well, you know, I feel comfortable with this. Why don't we just do the whole thing in a day?
Nice.
And so we ended up getting about 3/4 of the way through to Rubicon Springs, and my friend's Jeep broke. So we tried to help him get out as much as we could, and about 3 a.m. we ended up leaving the Jeep to come back for it later. And what ended up happening was my dad and my friend drove my dad's pickup out to Tahoe, got parts, and ended up driving back and forth a bunch of times. But me and my husband took off in the Samurai and went home. And it was amazing because my Samurai did the whole trail without braking, with minimal modifications, and then drove 3 hours home. It blew my mind.
Nice. Nice. That's a wild experience.
Yeah, and I was totally unprepared for it. That was the thing. It was awesome.
Awesome. Well, we have 3 events on the docket, right? So which one caught your eye and why?
Initially, it was Rebelle Rally because, 10 days, that's a long time to be just navigating and in the desert, and I love that kind of stuff. Like, yep. I've done hammers the last couple of years, King of the Hammers, and being in the desert and tooling around and just being out there in general is awesome, and I love it.
Yeah, cool. What would you bring with you to the team?
Like I said, I work on my own Samurai, so I've got some pretty solid mechanical skills. My husband's an ASC certified tech, so he disagrees with that one. But I'm super helpful. It's kind of hard to explain, but they love me at work because I came in when the shop was a mess and I organized the whole thing, and that's all I do is help all day.
What do you do for work?
Oh, I work in a metal fabrication shop. So anything that they have me do, I'll just do it. I'm kind of the low man on the totem pole, and you know, I do it happily, and if it's a sticky situation and everyone's stressed out, I try to keep it light and happy and, you know, get things worked out as easily as possible and is the best way I can. You know, if the situation allows me to do it better, I'll do it better. If I don't have time or if I don't have the tools, then I'll MacGyver my way out of it.
Perfect. Well, what's one of the bigger challenges that you've had to overcome or something that shaped you?
It was definitely that Rubicon Trail trip. Like I said, I was completely unprepared for it, and it kind of just flipped my whole expectations of me as me as an off-roader, me as a person in a couple ways, and my Samurai as a wheeler. It's gotten a little bit more serious in the last year.
Nice. Okay, so last question, and it's a fun one. You can only pack one of these 2 items. Which one would you pick? Zip ties or duct tape?
Oh, I gotta go with duct tape. That is a tough one. I guess I could use duct tape as zip ties. Gosh.
There you go. Awesome, Amber. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Wow, I told you every single one is amazing and completely capable of being my co-driver at any of these events. It was a hard situation, but our team's job was to cut those 33 down to the top 8 who would be invited to Arizona for a special training weekend. Quite frankly, this was the decision that was miserable. If I could load all 91 into a Jeep and take them, I would. But we did it. Well, kind of. We cut it down to our top 10. Alice, Kaylee, Kristen, Kristie, Lauren, Leigh, Makayla, Marcie, Teralin, and Trisha will be coming to Arizona this week, May 12th through the 15th, for an amazing weekend. The trick is, we aren't telling them what we're going to be doing. They'll be arriving on Thursday and we'll be leaving on Monday. And the rest of the time, we will be hosting them on some of the most awesome adventures available and introducing them to some of my amazing lady friends. I can't wait. And we'll be going live via Facebook too at all of our stops, so make sure you join us. Well, and then next week will be the top 3 announcement at our ladies meet and greet at the Overland Expo. I'll actually have to narrow it down to putting one name to each event. This is going to be another wild and difficult decision. Please feel free to follow along or see where we are on our adventure at BauerMediaTours.com. We'll be taking you on this adventure all year. Once the co-drivers are chosen, we head to Raleigh Venture in June to traverse the Virginia City mountains and test our skills at events like skeet shooting and kayaking, among many others. In August, we'll be headed to North Carolina to the BF Goodrich Tires 36 Hours Uwharrie event that is similar in nature to a Camel Trophy event, with winching and mud as two of our many obstacles. Then in October, we'll be part of the Rebelle Rally. That's a 10-day event, 7 days of which we will be compass and map navigating from Lake Tahoe to San Diego. All of these events and others that I'll be in attendance at, we will be having ladies meet and greets so we can learn more about each other. We'll also be adding many other events, so please stay tuned to Bauer Power Hour and Bauer Media for updates. With that, let's go ahead and just wrap up this special episode of Bauer Power Hour. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our viewers and listeners, as well as all these amazing ladies and BF Goodrich Tires for their support. Tune in weekly to hear the latest in the off-road industry and watch or listen to Bauer Power Hour on YouTube, Vimeo, and an assortment of different podcast outlets. Make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, know somebody who should be, or just want to chat, visit our website, BauerPowerHour.com, and click on Let's Chat to send us an email. Remember to go to BauerMediaTours.com for more information on the Ladies Co-Driver Challenge. And, well, I'm going to go get back to planning all these events. I'm super excited about them. Have a great week in the dirt, and we'll see you soon.
Want to learn more about the guests on today's show? Visit www.BauerPowerHour.com for more information, photos, and videos. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching for Bauer Power Hour Show for daily breaking news updates.